Welcome to this Friday edition of America's Day at the Races on FS2. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Sun shining here in South Ozone Park as we have the 6th race approaching the 23-minute mark to post. Our feature still to come, and a lot of action still ahead out in Hot Springs, Arkansas at Oaklawn Park as well. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Our feature here in New York today, Majny Girl from Markeneg. Big figure last time out. She got to the lead all by herself. Reasons to think she's beatable today?
Yeah, I don't like her at all. That's a very tricky race because she and Casilda Four Details, who are two of the choices, both have totally dressed up wins by riding a very strong bias. And if you look at Majny Girl, you'd have to ask yourself, where the heck did that race come from? Well, maybe she suddenly improved 30 lengths, or maybe she rode a gold rail last time. Not a gold rail today by any stretch of the imagination. And I'll tell you what, so Greg's 3 races so far in the pick 6 sequence, we could be looking at a double carryover tomorrow.
Yeah, $46,000 carryover coming into today. It has not been easy to this point by any stretch, and yeah, still a long way to go. Oaklawn Park, 3rd race, 6-furlong sprint, $30,000 maiden claiming event, and the 6-5 favorite, BZ. Steve Asmussen with Eclipse Award winner Joel Rosario's got a big day ahead of him potentially. Let's go to our Hall of Famer, Gary Stevens, with more on today's action from Hot Springs. Gary.
Beautiful sunny day here in Hot Springs, Arkansas, about 44 degrees, lightning fast racetrack. And yeah, we're going to focus on Joel Rosario today. It's the quiet before the storm. He's only got 3 mounts, but the morning line favorite in all 3 races. He rides the 5th race where he's the morning line favorite. And then AC Expressway in our feature. A deep race. It's wide open, but he is the favorite in there. Joel's got I say the quiet before the storm. The storm starts tomorrow when he travels to New Orleans to ride the Fairgrounds, the Risen Star on Epicenter for Steve Asmussen. He's riding a bunch over there, a full card tomorrow, stake races, full of business tomorrow. And then he's jumping on a jet early in the week, headed to Saudi Arabia for the Saudi Cup. So when I say the quiet before the storm, it's the quiet before the storm. He's going to sleep well on that airplane, and I'm sure he's going to perform well over in Saudi Arabia, but he's got this weekend to get over with first, and today's race is with his 3 rides, guys.
Gary, thanks. Among those mounts, he'll be on the favorite in the feature, AC Expressway, who's going to try and come from off the pace in that 8th race this afternoon. There's a look at Joel. He's on the 6-5 favorite here, winning at a 28% clip at this meet. Just amazing. You can play all the action by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com, download the app, take advantage of that offer. $200 deposit match bonus at sign up when you use that code right there, bonus 200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. So as for Joel's mount here, a horse who showed speed last time out, blinkers go on for the winningest trainer in North American history.
Yeah, he seems like he's massively overbetting. You know, you say correctly that Joel is winning at 28% of his mounts. I'm sure his ROI is not spectacular, given that he seems to be riding so many horses that are super short prices. And, you know, it's interesting. You know, it's not apples and oranges, but this horse beat the number 5 by a neck. Finished a 3/4 lengths behind the number 5 Popster, who's 7-2 and is 7-5, and Joel has a lot to do with it. He's the speed, and I think that makes him the horse to beat in here, the number 10 BZ. But I thought there were a couple of other horses that might be kind of interesting in here. The one in particular I like is the 6, Tiger Moon, who cuts back, stretched out last time, sloppy track. That was first time in a maiden claiming race. Has been a maiden claiming race, but this is the first time on a dry track maiden claiming race. Cuts back and distance, new gelding, and I thought Tiger Moon was kind of an interesting horse. I played 10 with 6 and 8, and I thought Skyline, another horse dropping, might be interesting.
Back to the horse who finished ahead of the favorite, who's even money right now, by the way, Popster. What's not, especially the price? I mean, you're getting 4-1 on a horse, equipment change here. You just think too many chances at the level?
No, I think that the race is misbet. I really think it's a function of people overbetting the 10 because Joel Rosario is riding. And the truth of the 10 is, listen, only 2 starts. He looks like the speed, a very logical horse in this race, but not a 6-5. Joel is going to put him in front in all likelihood. Well, any rider could put him in front. Would his chances be lessened if Ricardo Santana was riding him? Ricardo Santana picks the man on the 6, Tiger Moon. I think that could help him. Like I said, 10-6 will be okay with me. 6-10 would be even better.
11-1 on Tiger Moon right now. You have a first-time starter The only firster in the field, that's the 4, who actually is taking some play in here. That's Uncaptured Dream, who has at least a couple of bullet workouts on the tab.
Yeah, a $7,000 yearling purchase, a half to 2 foals that ran, that did absolutely no running. The dam was okay in the dirt. She was okay, actually, the dam. So maybe this horse can run. I don't know. I'm not big on first-time starters, but this horse is taking a little money. Is that horse being live or just an indication of how slow the others are?
Maybe
a
little
combination
bit of both.
Yeah.
There is that first time of that 4 just entering your screen. How about the 2? The 2 was favorite first time out at this level. And then 40-1 next time out in a jump up in class. Back to the original level he ran at, but another big price.
But claim for Mike Maker for a trainer who was 1 for 34 in 2021.
4 horse, I believe. No, that's 2 breaking through the gate.
He heard you. He was hearing you. See how this affects things.
Well, so Classic Shine, luckily, did not get too far away. He'll get a look over.
See the rider behind the gate, it looks like, right?
Yeah, it's Kelsey Haar.
Right. Take a look. Didn't seem like anything major happened, but I think the others are the others all in, Greg?
Everyone else, yeah, even the favorite on the outside, everybody's in. So it looks like this one, Kelsey back aboard, reload. And here we go. Race 3, Oaklawn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
At the post. And they're off. Popster wins the break from Beezy in second. Skyline away third. Wild Appeals on the move at the rail in fourth. Then Johnny Rod, Classic Shine, and to the outside, Uncaptured Dream. Next, it's Pikachu, and the trailer is Tiger Moon. It's Beezy up the backstretch, and he crosses and clears. Beezy in charge. A 2-length lead over Wild Appeal and Popster. Skyline is a hard-ridden fourth. He's joined by Johnny Rod, and Johnny Rod's a handful down at the rail and could move up quickly. Then to the outside and Uncaptured Dream. Another 5 back to Classic Shine. Tiger Moon has double digits to make up. Pikachu is the trailer and Beezy is the leader. It is Beezy just in front. 3/4 of a length to Wild Appeal. A 4-wide Uncaptured Dream moves up. And here's the first-time starter, Uncaptured Dream, to go from 4th to a joint 2nd. Meanwhile, Johnny Rod and Skyline have backed out. Beezy and Uncaptured Dream 1-2 past mid-stretch. And Beezy has the lead. Beezy is a 2-length leader over Uncaptured Dream in 2nd. Then Popster. It is still Beezy. Uncaptured Dream running a very big one in his debut. But Beezy's clear now. And Beezy has won it. He's 2 in front of Uncaptured Dream and Popster. Beezy, easy. Beezy won by better than 2. Uncaptured Dream was 2nd. It is very close for 3rd between Popster and Tiger Moon.
Beezy broke very sharp. Joel Rosario opened it up an early advantage and never looked back.
Yep. Heavy favorite, got the job done. First-time starter you were asking about before the race, ran a credible base to run 2nd, but 2nd best and tough to overcome the advantage the 10 had. Much the best in there. My horse looks like he finished 4th, Tiger Moon, just way too far back.
Beezy, easy time of things here on the front end. Liam's map 3-year-old, 3rd time the charm. We heard from Gary, limited amount of mounts this afternoon for Joel Rosario. Already making the most of them, though. He's going to be on the favorite later today in that feature race. A horse who took advantage of a pretty hot pace early on, broke dead last in that race, but still worked out a pretty good trip.
Yeah, he's got a little of the last time was the time feel to me, and he does figure, at least on paper, to get pace again to run at today, so perhaps he can get it done. But, you know, he got an unbelievably great ride last time out. Things worked out, and I just wouldn't want to take a shorter price stepping up here, but obviously a horse who can win.
Splitting horses right here in that red cap.
I remember this race.
And Joel Rosario, he's hugging that rail all the way around, and then here explodes in the stretch.
Yep.
But they went 22 flat for that opening
They
quarter.
were moving. They were moving. Now, they could be moving today, which will help. But the competition's a little more stern today than last time as well.
We'll see if he can go back-to-back here. AC Expressway, son of mine, shaft trained by Norm Cassie. Is going to see the return of Pretty Birdie. Opening day winner at Saratoga in that Schuylerville from last year. Makes her long-awaited return. That's a contentious group that's going to run there. Today's race is presented by Claiborne Farm. Races 6 through 8 still ahead here in New York, and a lot more coming up in Hot Springs, including that feature where Joel will be on the aforementioned AC Expressway. 15 minutes to post here in the 6th. Again, our feature race 7, 1-turn mile. And Majni Girl, Mark Hennig, switched her to the dirt at a mile last start. She responded with a big performance.
She did, but she rode the goldest of gold rails that day. And, you know, if you look through the sort of the beginning, the end of the 2021, the last couple days into February, there's so many performances like this one that you look at the PPs and you go, where did this race come from? And in many cases, like this one, it came in all likelihood because she rode an extreme bias that really enhanced her performance and exaggerated a lot of other performances in a negative fashion. Obviously, if she runs an 85 buyer again, she's going to win this race. The likelihood she repeats that, to me, is 0.
She got in front by herself last time out. You have Kazilda 40 Tails outside. Colleen Magic's not necessarily slow. She's going to be hard-pressed to be in front by herself.
She is. I mean, you have to imagine that Kazilda 40 Tails is going to go. She's another horse that rode a gold rail last time. So for me, I threw those two out and tried to make my way from there on. But they did both run big figures last time.
Race 6 next, one-turn mile as well. It's a $25,000 claiming race. Horses that don't have 2 wins on the resume. And make it in New York. Rob Atras, Manny Franco. Dropped down in class right now, is the 2-to-1 favorite. I want to remind everyone you can play against your friends, fellow fans with the Showdown contest. It's free to enter. Go to NYRA.com/showdown. You're competing for real prizes, and we'll show the results at the end of the show. We'll have more on the 6th when we return. Mr. Candy Ride at 3, the morning line favorite. There he is. Second off the claim for Linda Rice. Equipment change today. Blinkers go on. More on this field when we return right after a break.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne Stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races program, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We'll get to Oaklawn in a bit. It's back to New York right now. One-turn mile again in this 6th race on the card. And it's still make it in New York. Rob Atras, Manny Franco, the favorite. We showed you this one going to break. Mr. Candy Ride will take plenty of support as well. For more on this field, let's check in for the first time today with Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, we'll actually begin our discussion here in the paddock with that aforementioned number 3, Mr. Candy Ride, who comes out of a performance where he was the part of an entry, the beaten favored part of the entry. And he just, honestly, it looked as though he never picked up the bit for his second sloppy track race in a row, and coming in off of a bit of a layoff. I know he was listed as a vet scratch prior to that a couple weeks before he made that start here in New York on February 4th, in which you didn't want to be down on the inside, but he was kept out in the middle of the racetrack and he really had no response. Now, I didn't mind him in the paddock that day, but we have seen frequently these horses from Linda Rice's barn that she claimed in Kentucky just not really fire. He physically looks fine, much like he did, but sometimes when you're assessing horses physically, you match them up against their competition. And honestly, I know that was a starter allowance, but this field of 25 non-2 life, they're a good-looking crew, and it's not like he looks best here in the field, as he does add a pair of French cup or three-quarter cup blinkers. So closing him in quite a bit, we'll see if that engages him and gets him to do a little bit more forward running throughout the race. As I like the appearance of number 6, Big Castle, who was against the racetrack last time and does drop in class here from that non-2 for 40. He looks great for Horacio de Paz, second off that trainer change, and just big, good looking, almost black dark bay son of Painter. Presents himself so well here. If anything, Greg, he's the one I want moving forward.
You and Andy. Thank you, Maggie. You like this one as well. 7-2. We'll get to your thoughts on this one in a moment. Real quick, you can earn a $20 bonus today by playing with Naira Bets. Bet $75 each at Aqueduct and at Oaklawn Park, and you'll get that $20 bonus whether you win or lose, but you do have to opt in. Don't forget to do that. Go to nairabets.com for all the details, and again, don't forget to opt in. All right, your thoughts on Big Castle.
I tell you what, I wish I could claim her for $25,000. To be honest with you, all kidding aside, this is a horse that ran well to break, well enough to break his maiden. You'd think he could be competitive in hours of one. He wasn't, but he also met some pretty tough horses in some of those races. And I don't think he ran that badly. Last time out, he was wide against one of the stronger rails we had the entire winter, and that compromised his chances. So I think his 62 buyer is a number that could be in the 70s if he gets a fair trip in here. And I just think he makes an enormous amount of sense. In all likelihood, by post time, Mr. Candy Ride will be favored. Listen, he's got some fast races, and even his bad figures are good enough to win this race. So I'm not going to be shocked when he wins, but I'm not thrilled with that horse. And Make It New York makes a certain amount of sense, cutting back to a mile, second off the claim for Rob Atras. Mile and eighth, chasing alone speed, hurt him a little bit. But Big Castle, to me, is the classic kind of horse you're supposed to be betting on based on the wide trip against the gold rail last time out.
At what price, though?
7-2
That's
is
fine.
fine with me. Yeah, I don't think he'll go much lower than that. I mean, he's not exactly jumping off the page, and they seem to be betting the 5 in this race. So 7-2 is fine with me. I mean, I'm not afraid of anybody in here. He's got to show up. I mean, Noble Journey's 6-1, Straight Skinny's 5-1. If those horses beat me, I bet the wrong horse. I can live with that.
7 minutes to post here coming up. Let's bring in Jonathan Kinchin with more on Big Castle.
Yeah, it's going to be a love fest, I think, today. I agree with Andy as well. But we talked about it, and we've been talking about it for a couple of weeks now. When you have these racetracks that were favoring certain horses in certain positions, are great opportunities moving forward. It can be annoying at the time when you're trying to decide how a race is going to unfold and who's going to end up where. But I do think that looking at it in weeks to come after a situation like this, there's plenty of opportunities. And I agree, the 6 Big Castle is one of those horses that should provide some opportunity. Not only when there is a good inside, do you get to get some bonus points for the horse being wide when inside is where you want it to be? Then you just get good old geometry comes into play as well. This horse lost a lot of ground, so you got to think the horse could improve off of that effort. And then the second thing is the horse comes in off a pretty significant layoff last time. He had a little bit of a break there, shows back up, and you're hoping that maybe he'll run even a little bit better second time out. I do like the 6 Big Castle. I also thought the 8 Straight Skinny was interesting. So horse cutting back from 9 furlongs. It's taken me a while to realize what to do with 1-turn mile races, and I treat them more as a stamina test. And so because you're not allowed to slow down into that first turn, you're running for the entire backstretch, and I think that sometimes stamina can come into play. So if there is a horse that has run okay or run well enough at 9 furlongs, cutting back to that 1-turn mile, I think that they'll be finishing when some of the other horses might be stopping.
All right, JK, thanks. 5-1 on Straight Skinny, who we're looking at, who does have a finish 2 back, where he finished ahead of make it in New York, who for a while was favored here on the board, the 5.
Yeah, I actually bet straight skinny that day, and Air Show just ran a giant race to beat him. In fact, Air Show was one of the few horses to win against the bias. Now, straight skinny get the speed. El Mayor is inside him today, was in front, and that was that New Year's weekend where speed was dominant. And honestly, Air Show's one of the few horses that won off the pace all weekend. Air Show's just a better horse than these. I don't really like him. I think he'll stalk El Mayor, probably take over, but I'll be surprised if he has enough. But we'll see. I mean, listen, I don't think I'm standing on solid ground. If Big Castle keeps getting bet down, he goes off at 2-1 or 5-2, I won't. I'll cancel my bet on him. I don't need him at that price.
Post spread coming up momentarily. This is the horse who was the morning line favorite here, Mr. Candy Ride, coming off that 5-year-old debut on the sloppy racetrack February 4th.
Yeah, obviously Linda Rice's horses have not been running as well as they often do at this meet. She's been struggling. She had a favored entry where one of them ran second earlier today and the other one was well off the board. So it's hard to have a lot of confidence. And this is one of these horses she claimed at Churchill Downs. I think she claimed 10 horses, and she said absolutely no success with any of them, really. I think one of them won. On the other hand, this horse is dropping, and even the last race, from a speed figure standpoint, is good enough to be competitive here. So while I'm not thrilled with Mr. Candy Ride, I'm not going to be shocked when this horse wins. I mean, it's not like I picked a horse, Big Castle, that's any kind of superstar.
Yeah, this horse who you're looking at, again, the 3, he didn't debut until he was a 3-year-old. He only had 2 starts in his 4-year-old campaign, and he'll need better than what he showed first time out of his 5-year-old debut. So we see riders up. There's the 2-1 favorite. Jose Lezcano will be aboard for Linda Rice, second off the claim. This race, not an easy one to handicap. The 7th and 8th, I mean, the remaining 3 races on this card, none of them easy.
This one may be the one that has the most logic in it. I mean, the 7th race, a very tricky race because of those 2 winners with big figures that got gold rail trips. And in the 8th race today, well, that's a bit of a crapshoot as well, to say the least.
Noble Journey, blinkers coming off on the rail.
He would need a very fast pace to collapse. He's got the right rider to take advantage of the circumstances, though.
Biggest price on the board here, the 2.
Yeah, this horse will definitely guarantee a pick 6 carryover.
Here is the favorite, Mr. Candy Ride.
He's got a running style that may suit a track that has been not overly kind to forward horses, but I don't know. It's hard to trust at a short price, and he's going to be very short in here.
Manny Franco looking for his 3rd win today.
I think the Make in New York makes a certain amount of sense. A mile and an 1/8 last time, cuts back to a 1-turn mile. We'll see. I think he's logical.
We saw Horatio de Paz back in the paddock. He sends out Big Castle.
I like this horse, but everybody likes him, so I never like that.
El Mayor, John Toscano trained, second off the claim.
He looks like the speed, but nothing more.
And Straight Skinny outside 5-1.
He figures to stalk El Mayor, probably take over, but the question is, can he finish off the other horses?
Well, his couple of starts on dirt, mile and an 1/8, maybe throw that one out, maybe a bit beyond what he wants to do, but
yeah.
A couple, a mile and a 16th, at least encouraging.
No, but I think he had very much the best of it 2 races back, and I think that enhanced his performance a little bit.
Minute to post, late pick 3 on this card on the Friday here in South Ozone Park coming up. And public settling on Mr. Candy Ride here at 9-5.
I guess they like the drop down, and they like the fact he has the fastest last buyer figure, but it's not like he's substantially better than either Make It New York and Straight Skinny. He's got that big figure 2 back, but it seems to be a bit of an aberration for him. We'll see. Blinkers on for Linda. It is a barn that's not going particularly well right now, and it's a barn that can often win at a pretty high percentage, and right now, not a lot of good luck for Linda's barn lately.
Let's head back down to Maggie.
And just a brief note here on the wind situation here at the Big A. The horses are running into a headwind down the backside. They get a tailwind coming for home here as we'll check out number 1. That is Noble Journey. Blinkers coming off. And he just kind of ran like a horse that didn't necessarily appreciate the blinkers too last time either. Just never really dropping his head and settling into stride. As Andy said, though, he is a horse that does need a little bit of something to materialize up front to close into. Now, he is fairly sharp, though. Not that he isn't always that way. He is a horse that kind of gets himself on his toes, and he is trained by Jimmy Durkin, so therefore he always is going to look good and really make the right kind of appearance. I just wish his recent form was a little bit better. You know, his 1 win came when he did get to dominate an off-the-turf race, and I don't see that happening here. So we'll jump towards the outside with number 8, Straight Skinny, a horse that I wanted to try to like because his dirt routes, they're okay. They make him a player here. He just didn't look that comfortable down in the paddock, and he took an awfully long time to kind of warm up, especially behind out on the racetrack. So we'll see what he does. Kind of a little underwhelmed with what I saw from him, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. 6-5 favorite, still Mr. Candy Ride as we look at Straight Skinny.
There are a lot of people seeing that 666, and they're running for cover.
That is.
I feel like one of them. Feel like I should be one of them.
Well, it's just shocking in a race that feels like, I mean, the hidden form, I guess, is there. And you guys noticed it, and the public is backing this horse a bit, too.
Well, Jonathan and I both like the 6 for the exact same reason. And there are things that we approach similarly. So it's not surprising that we would land on this horse. This is, to be honest, this is a very obvious horse for people who look at races the way I do. Now, I look at a lot of races, and at the end of the day, I end up being incorrect. The idea is to be more correct at your odds over time. I think you'll do fine betting horses like this at 7-2 over time. He also might run 7th today, but this is a horse I have to bet on. I have to bet horses that were against the track, and this horse has some back form. Race has all the perfect accoutrements to bet a horse like this. The 3 is not exactly an appealing favorite. And it's not like anybody in here is jumping off the page at you. I bet exactas with the 5 and a little bit on the 1, and I'll let the 3 beat me. And maybe he will.
Well, again, at this point, we had a $46,000 carryover in the pick 6 coming in. As you mentioned, it is
tough.
Been very difficult to this point. No huge prices, but it's not been easy.
When Chad Brown wins with $19 horses, that's an indication that that horse was very hard to use, because it's rare that his horses, especially in the winter at Aqueduct, are going off at those kind of prices. And that's the last winner. She was very, very hard to make. She did get an exceptional ride by Eric Cancel, and he deserves a lot of credit. 2 in a row he won on her, where he deserves a great deal of the credit, to be honest.
Primacy, yeah, back in race 5. 6-5 favorite, Mr. Candy Ride, the 3, the one that all our analysts like here. They're moving in. Big Castle, the 6. Kenner Carmouche. 8 was warming up nice over the track here late. We'll see if he can get it done here for Amira Shashakli. We're set. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
All in line. All set. And they're off. Step slow there for Big Castle, who's at the back of the field. Speed from Straight Skinny. Also, El Mayor is in the early mix, and at the rail, there's Noble Journey. In behind them comes Patio Mark, Mr. Candy Ride. Shuffle to the back of the field will be Make It in New York, who's now second to last, and the trailer is Big Castle. They come out of the chute. El Mayor has got the lead, secures the front end. Noble Journey is right down to the inside in second, with a wide Straight Skinny in third. In between horses now is Mr. Candy Ride. They're about 3 clear. From Patio Mark, who's losing ground, is about to be passed by Make It in New York, and Big Castle up on the outside to be the trailer. El Mayor has got the lead, is up by a length and a half. Getting off the rail there was Noble Journey. Trevor McCarthy's in the 2-path now with Straight Skinny, who's 3 wide. They're approaching the half-mile pole, 24.91 for a measured opening quarter mile. They reach that half-mile pole, and it continues to be El Mayor, 49.40. It's an easy pace up front. Straight Skinny is ranging up on the outside. Under a full drive is Noble Journey, not making up the ground. Big Castle still has about 5 to make up. In between horses, Mr. Candy Ride, Make It in New York, and far back is Patio Mark. They're approaching the quarter-mile pole. Straight Skinny up on the outside of El Mayor, who's not done to the inside, is still battling back, but Straight Skinny's got plenty with a quarter mile left to go. Straight Skinny kicks for home, is up by a quick length and a half. Back to second is El Mayor. From the back, Big Castle's trying to rally on with Make It in New York, also Noble Journey, and from the back here comes Mr. Candy Ride, 8th to go. Straight Skinny is almost there. It's Straight Skinny still up by 3.5 lengths. Noble Journey, Make It in New York, they're in pursuit. Straight Skinny for a final 16th is still clear. It's all Straight Skinny. Straight Skinny wins this one nicely. Noble Journey here for second, Make It in New York. Looks like El Mayor to the inside of Big Castle in 1 minute 42.57 seconds.
Straight Skinny, Sam Camacho Jr., Amira Shashakli gets her first winner of the meet.
1 horse ran, 6 did not. This horse stalked El Mayor, much like he did 2 races back, took over, might be letting a little leg weary, but not as leg weary as those behind him, because nobody ran. I mean, Nobody ran. It looked like New York might make a little bit of run. I think he hung and didn't even get second. I don't think Big Castle was winning. I also think he would have been better off making an outside move because most of the moves being made were outside, but really he wasn't in a significantly more inside path than the winner. He just didn't run. This horse did. Congrats if you had this horse.
5-1 on your winner here in the 6th from New York. Not an easy one to come up with yet again. 2 legs remain. We're going to take a timeout. When we return, it's now a permanent fixture at the Kentucky Derby Museum, the Black Heritage in Racing. We'll tell you about it when we return on America's Day at the Races.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus buyer speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Smile Happy was a TDN rising star following his maiden win at Keeneland. From there, he captured the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes to remain undefeated and earning points toward the Kentucky Derby. In future Pool 1, Smile Happy was individual leader by lowest odds. Among the top of his crop by stakes winners and earnings, Run Happy continues his rise and is priced for success. Call today and book your mare to Red Hot Sire Run Happy, standing in legendary Stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. You can play it all by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com or download the app. There's a look at your winner. Straight skinny here in the 6th. Sam Camacho Jr. Amir Shishakli wins for the second time in 11 career starts. $13.40 for the win.
Yep, and a $257 pick 3 for $1. Start out this pick 6 with a 5-1 shot. Probably talking about a parlay in the pick 6 that's close to $2,000 in a lot of ways, you know, in sort of combination ways. We'll see how it does going into this race. I think we'll find out more, but I don't think it's impossible this thing carries.
4th coming up in Hot Springs, this 6-furlong sprint, 10,000 claiming tag. Non-winners at 2 lifetime, and the entry 4 to 5 in here with Violent Pass and Rubiginous.
Strange entry because they both have speed. I would have thought Theodore would run only one of them.
Violent Pass post 3 with David Cohen.
Yeah, this one seems like the speed making a huge drop from $15 at 2 lifetime to $10,000 claimer hours 2 lifetime.
Breaks from post 3. Well, let's look at the other half of the entry. Rubiginous will be in post 7.
Not really dropping, that he ran in this company 2 back. Obviously, the 1 is the stronger half, at least on paper.
My Dominator to the rail.
Yeah, been running only at Canterbury after winning his debut in a slow race at Oaklawn. Well back.
Randy Morse now trains Shanghai Silver.
Yep. Got the trainer changed, but coming off some poor efforts at Remington Park.
A couple of tough ones to endorse. The 4 Trail Driver.
I agree. Another tough one to endorse.
Fun and Funny, 49 to 1. Biggest price on the board.
I mean, I don't know why this horse is 49 to 1 and the 2 is 19 to 1. I feel like this horse has better credentials, even though it's 1 for 22.
Rift Valley. Blinkers go on today.
I'm going to bet Rift Valley in this race and hope there's enough pace. I've wanted this horse to turn back. This is not a router, and going from 2 turns to 1 turn will help. So I want to give him 1 shot dropping down. Not going to be easy to beat the entry, but I'm going to take a shot.
Kelsey Harron, hard to park at 17 to 1.
Yeah, hard to park and hard to bet.
Papa Star. 1 for 12. Does have 4 seconds on the resume.
Why was this one only 15-1, relatively speaking? Not a lot I could find to recommend.
Yeah, 2 tries at this level. Very little running the last 2 starts. Sunny is not so funny. Carl DeVille.
But in fairness, this one is dropping significantly and does have a big fig 4-back.
And drops from 40 last time out. It was exclusively against 3-year-olds, though. And then here's What a Show Off.
Yeah, what a show off. The form looks like the 55-1 he is.
So sounds like going through this group, there's a few you can sort of write off.
Yeah, it's hard to really love anybody in here. I'm married to betting on the number 6, Rift Valley in here. I don't know why they ran the horse at 1.16 last time. Even though he's run a mile, those were 1-turn miles. I think he's more of a closing sprinter. I don't have a lot of confidence in him, but I'm going to give him one real shot dropping down. I thought he was interesting. Listen, I'm afraid of the entry, but the thing with the entry is you got 2, and I don't love the 1A. I much prefer the 1. Not that they both can't win here.
And it's going to be Ramon Vasquez on the 1A. Cohen was actually named on both halves. He's on the straight one.
He won't be riding both.
Well, no, it makes you think that they were going to run 1 half, right?
I was certain that they would run only 1 half. To be honest, I'm very surprised they're running both of them. It's not the same rule, though, as New York. In New York, if you name the same rider on both, unless it's a stake race, you have to scratch one of them.
Well, we'll say this for the other half of the entry. He ran against a horse last time out who's probably being pointed to some stakes races next, for at least for State Bred Company. Garhole, horse ran sensational last time.
You had pointed that horse out to me 2 races back when he won big, and he was even more impressive.
Yeah.
Here on, was it Sunday we saw him run again?
I believe so.
Gosh, he was good. I agree.
4th here coming up from Hot Springs. Vic Stauffer with the call in the entry, odds on.
They're at the post. They're off. Trail Driver and My Dominator show speed. Fun and Funny, Papa Star, and Sunny is Not So Funny. A hard-ridden but Rubiginous now passes horses to be mid-pack. Shanghai Silver is next, then Violent Pass, Hard to Park. At the back of the pack are Rift Valley and What a Show Off. Trail Driver and a hard-ridden Rubiginous. 1-2 into the far turn. Rubiginous outside. Trail Driver at the rail. They're a length and a half in front of Sunny is Not So Funny. Here's Violent Pass up into 4th on the move. Going to get into 3rd soon. Violent Pass on the move and catches the eye. Fun and Funny is 5th with 4 lengths to make up. 2 back to My Dominator and Shanghai Silver. Rift Valley has 12 to make up. He's 2 in front of Hard to Park and Papa Star. What a Show Off is the trailer, and here comes Violent Pass outside of his stablemate. Rubiginous and the M&M duo is 1-2 at the top of the stretch. Violent Pass outside, Rubiginous inside, and they are shoulder to shoulder in matching strides. 3 in front of Trail Driver. Rift Valley continues to close in. Here's Rift Valley within 2 of the lead, and he's got a chance. Rubiginous has turned away Violent Pass. Rift Valley is within a length and a half of the lead. This is going to end up close. Rubiginous, Rift Valley closes. Rubiginous, Rift Valley, Rubiginous. Rubiginous held off Rift Valley. It is close for 3rd between Fun and Funny and Violent Pass. Hard to Park finished 5th.
Rubiginous trying to hang on. Looks like he's able to here.
I feel like I've been involved in about 20 photos at Oaklawn and lost every single one of them. Rift Valley awfully far back. The stronger half on paper, Violent Pass, did not break and was left up to his theoretically on paper weaker half, Rubiginous. 1-5. Not winning like a 1-5 shot should, but had enough to hold off Rift Valley.
That was quite a finish from Rift Valley, but running out of room. Just the 2nd start of his 5-year-old campaign. David Cabrera, Rubiginous with the win. Yeah, it's very short price there at 1-5. Yeah. Great job being done with the Kentucky Derby Museum and Black Heritage in Racing exhibit that's now a permanent fixture out in Louisville, Kentucky, honoring all these important people in this sport that were so crucial to the sport, especially early on. First ever Kentucky Derby run, 13 of the 15 jockeys were black. Here is Ray Daniels, who is co-owner of Necker Island, with the exhibit.
Blown away. a phenomenal job. I like where everything is positioned in the museum. The way that it really not only introduces all the significant horsemen that were some of the foundational builders, but the way it really examines the successes that they had in their career and intertwines it and connects all of them, because they're all interconnected to some extent, is phenomenal. I think they did a great job. Well, for us, we have a great affinity for Ed Brown, and it's hard to get pictures and articles and information on Ed Brown in particular. So for us, there's a picture of Ed Brown as a kid being trained and learning how to be a trainer. I've never seen that picture. It's a significant picture. It's a hard one to find, and very exciting to see that.
Well, Ed Brown, of course, who he's talking about, he was actually born into slavery and then became the first African-American jockey to win the Belmont Stakes back when it was a mile and 5/8. And just great, long overdue that this important history of the sport now is getting its due and being remembered.
Couldn't agree more. I want to say Ray Daniels was that gentleman's name, Live in the Dream Stable. I want to say it was the New York Times. There is an article about them. I think it was written right around the time of the Breeders' Cup. And I think it was the New York Times. I have to find that article and look it up. But an interesting article about how he got involved in horse racing, getting horses with his friends, African-Americans buying horses together, getting involved in the game. It was a really, really good story. So it's nice to see those things tie together.
Yeah, again, they had he was part of a group that had Necker Island in the 2020 Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, that's right. And they still own him, though, right? I think. Yeah, he's running. He's running this weekend at Oaklawn. There's so many days of racing, and he looks a little interesting in that spot. Now I feel like he's even more interesting. I have to look that up.
We are going to take a timeout. We will be back. Hendrik Carmouche, he is going to be aboard. Likely favorite coming up here in New York next. Majni Girl, can she back up what she did in that move back to dirt on January the 13th? Looking to go back-to-back for Mark Hennig when we return in our Friday feature from Aqueduct.
Field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it. The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
Magic's in front.
We're back on America's Day at the Races program, brought to you in part by the champion sprinter, Run Happy. We're going to see his son back on the Derby Trail this weekend in the Risen Star. He's going to be one of the favorites in that Derby prep. Back at Oaklawn, Urbigenus saving the entry with the win at 1-5.
Thank God. How about 320 to place? And are those prices correct? that Rift Valley paid $860 to show? I'm confused. A 1-5. I know the entry took all the money late, and obviously it was a huge win bets coming in. Think about all the play pools. That's one of the strangest looking payoff boards I've ever seen, Greg.
It really was.
Because there's not bridge jumper, because the 1-5 shot entry won. 260, 320 without the other half of the entry running second, and 860 to show on the clear-cut second choice, who was 3-1 before a giant bet moved him up to. I'm just wishing now I bet Rift Valley to show, but those are the weirdest payoffs.
It was very strange.
Either those are wrong, or that's the weirdest series of payoffs I've ever seen in my life.
You see that when a heavily favored entry does not
right,
hit the board.
Right. Or the entry ran second, right, and they ran first and second, got the whole place pool. I don't know. Maybe there's something in the water today.
One-turn mile coming up in our feature here in New York. Majni Girl, we've talked about. 5-2 morning line, 5-1 right now, looking to go back-to-back. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
And it's the other Mark Hennig horse that is taking all the money as of now. I'll admit, I was purely just looking at horses. There's no big odds board down here, so I was unaware that Epona's Dream was the favorite, but she looks best. She is a filly that has continuously, with each start throughout her career, just filled out and just gotten so much better as a physical. She looks fantastic here, much the best in the paddock. Granted, thought much the best in the paddock last time with Big Castle, and that didn't work out too well. But I think it is meaningful that she is taking this early money. I didn't love the fact that she didn't fully finish off her last race, so to speak, and that she just had dead aim on Honey Money and never really could get by her. Now she'll contend over a wet track once again, but this one harrowed and muddy rather than sloppy and sealed last time out. But I love what I'm seeing from Epona's Dream here for Mark Hennig. As we'll check in with the layoff runner, that's number 4, If I Had a Chance. She is one that, yes, is coming off a fairly poor effort, but hence the layoff for Rob Falcone, whose horses have been continuously running well here throughout this Aqueduct winter meet. Liked her disposition here today in that she came in nicely on the bridle, especially when they put the blinkers on. She got fairly sharp and keen. That's always a good sign with these horses coming back. And while she does kind of have that long wintry coat to her, she does every winter, but it looks rich and hydrated and healthy, and she comes in here looking pretty fit, especially from the leanest perspective. Maybe she needs one to kind of fully get back into race fitness, but I'm more on the optimistic end of her chances coming back here, especially at this 1-turn mile. I do think she fits quite well at this distance. Despite not winning at it, I think she deserves a chance back here at this 1-turn go.
Yeah, you see her only win really showing up on the resume when she grinded it out for 1.8 miles at Saratoga last summer.
I landed on her, and I'll be honest, this is one of these races that took me an enormous amount of time to handicap, and I basically approached it from a handicapping standpoint as I don't want the 2 and 8. Where am I going from there? And it's one of those sort of warts and all races, right, where you just look around and think, I don't want this one, I don't want that one. Rob Falcone's having a very good meet. As he is for these horses, for both Nice Guy Stable and Sandy Goldfarb. They're co-owners. Horse ran well over the summer. Obviously did not run well in the last start. And I just put this one as sort of a shot. I used I put the race 4-7, 4-7-1-6. I was trying to play against the 2 and 8, and I think by post time they'll probably drop a bit in odds, Greg.
Well, as Maggie alluded to, it's the other Mark Hennig who's the favorite on the board right now. That's the 6, Epona's Dream.
By the way, we did those prices we put at Oaklawn were not accurate. We'll try to get the accurate ones up.
Yeah, we'll get those for you when we come back. 8 minutes away from the feature on this Friday card here in New York post-parade. When we return, stick with us. Epona's Dream, the current favorite, the 6.
Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions, proudly standing the ultra-fast, multiple stakes winning son of Uncle Mo, King for a Day, the only horse to defeat 2019 3-year-old champion Maximum Security.
Well, King for a Day was basically a clone of Uncle Mo. I mean, good speed, the ability to carry it over distance of ground, real professional horse and a really cool horse to train.
Sire Maker Extraordinaire, Uncle Mo, represented in New York by King for a Day. Visit IHDVStallions.com to book your mare today.
Blood Horse Plus, available through bloodhorse.com, provides exclusive, timely, and unmatched content to subscribers, including Fox Sports, Blood Horse branded weekly programs, a detailed stakes winners section, behind-the-scenes videos from Blood Horse staff, on-demand access to deeper horse statistics, and a $5 monthly credit to equineline.com. Upgrade to Blood Horse Plus today.
Florida Derby's always been a key stallion-making race. Constitution, Scat Daddy, Quality Road.
The 2017 Florida Derby to Always Dreaming.
I see a lot of similarities in Constitution and Always Dreaming. They're a little more angular, aerodynamic, and athletic than some of the other stallions by those sire lines. Always Dreaming offers that athleticism, and I think he can reproduce that into his babies, and you'll see some good 2-year-old performances from them.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the races, right around the corner. Belmont Stakes meet in the third and final leg of the Triple Crown, that test of the champion. That big week, June 9th through 11th. Tickets on sale now at BelmontStakes.com.
And keep in mind, we have capped attendance at 50,000 people. You might think that's a little. We had 11,000 last year and 0 2 years ago, so it's a lot because of the less room on the backyard with the new hockey arena. So that day is going to sell out. And I think a lot of times people count on always being able to walk up and get tickets. Don't count on that. Get your tickets. Don't get shut out. It's the Mid-Year's Breeders' Cup and an amazing day of racing. And it's a day that can be even a bigger amazing if we have a horse going for the Triple Crown.
Yeah. Going to be exciting this year. Seems like a wide open road to that first leg and that first Saturday in May. And we're going to talk more about that later in the program. Right now, this feature on our Friday card coming up. Taking a look here at Casilda 40 Tail, certainly a contender at 9-2, as is Majney Girl, 5-length winner. There she is. Last time out, Kendrick Carmouche was aboard. He's back aboard today.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see this board sort of even out as we get closer with the 2, 6, and 8, who are basically the same prices in the double. I think you're going to see those horses at similar prices by post time. Listen, she ran an 85 buyer. Then on the surface of things will make her an odds-on favorite to win this race. But the question is, how did she earn it? Where did it come from? Well, it may be partly that she's an improved horse, but it also probably has a lot to do with the fact that she rode an extreme bias that exaggerated performances that we saw. So I'm going to let her beat me and do it again. If you liked her and she was 5-1, I could understand it. The problem is that by post time, she likely will not be.
And she's likely not going to be loose on the front end either.
No, because wouldn't you think that the speed is the 8, Casilda 40 Tails?
It looks like it.
I mean, she's supposed to be in front of her. But, you know, I have to imagine that Kendrick and Mark Hennigan want to be more aggressive because, bias or not, being the speed clearly helped her last time.
And that's apprentice Annie Hernandez is going to be on that outside runner as we start with Frost Me, Eric Cancel, John Kimmel.
Hit the wire with the number 6 last time out. Beat that one just a half length, and yet this one's 7-1, and the 6 is 9-5.
Here's Majney Girl looking to go back-to-back.
We'll see. I want to see it again to believe it. She will beat me.
Amity Island coming out of a stakes race.
She feels like one of the bigger outliers in this field, and currently 9-1, but she's not that far from being a contender.
If I had a chance, 6-year-old debut coming up.
Seems a little chilly on the board for a horse who has credentials to be dangerous for a very live trainer.
BB's busted, a 5-time winner with 12 seconds.
She will bust the pick 6 wide open if she wins.
13-1. She's the biggest price on the board. Opponent's Dream still right now favored, the stablemate of Majney Girl.
She's a dramatic underlay, even though she's a major contender.
8-1. This filly trying to make it 3 in a row.
They knew last time. Probably last time was the time, but she did step forward. Is she going to be better with more distance, though?
And on the outside, Casilda 40 Tails with the 7-pound apprentice, Andy Hernandez.
Kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. When she's had things go her own way, last time in 3-back, she ran big figures. When they don't go her own way, she's not even remotely competitive. I'll be surprised if she's competitive today.
He, kind of a new face on the circuit. He actually started out riding quarter horse races in Cuba, where there was no track, there was no saddle, there was nothing.
You know who would probably love to do that? Our friend Richard Bigliori.
He would.
He would love that. There are the accurate prices.
Thank you.
$860 to show on this 5. We're not that smart, Greg, but there are some things we can look at and think they don't make a lot of sense. That was one of them. Those make a little more sense, right?
Yes. Glad we sorted that out. Good
I'm
catch.
Relieved. I'm relieved.
And back here to the feature coming up. So we talked about pace early, and Majny Girl likely not going to get things her own way like she did last start because of the presence of this mare on the outside, Casilda 40 Tails, who has won 2 of her last 3 starts.
Yeah, I mean, she's supposed to be the speed. Whether or not it plays out that way remains to be seen. But she won last time. Jose Ortiz gave her a very aggressive ride, took advantage of the bias. And this was a race where, while the second and third horses drifted a little off the rail, most of their running was also done on the rail. Third place finisher came back to win a much lesser race earlier today. I don't know whether or not that moves this race up because she beat an inferior field to the one she faces today.
Let's see if she can make it 3 of her last 4. Getting her picture taken. 4-time winner. There she is, 7-2 on the board. Let's go back down to Maggie.
It's gotten really cold out here. Poor cameraman Matt's shivering over there. I will be too. As we'll take a look at 2 horses stretching out, trying the 1-turn mile for the first time. Casilda 40 Tails, as you guys were talking about, as a physical, she looks as though she should be able to handle that progression and step out from the win last time at the 7, and she is breathing fire. This filly is sharp. She projects to be the lone speed in here. Possibly, and she's acting that way. So it's all good things to consider as we'll move on to the horse to her inside, and that's Kali Magic, who's looking for her 3rd win in a row, winning her last 2 by a combined 8 lengths, obviously facing tougher here. But boy, did she warm up beautifully for Trevor McCarthy. He did give her an aggressive warm-up. Him and Kendrick Carmouche are 2 jockeys who do tend to break away from the pony and give that big open gallop over to the backside. But she's not a horse that's without speed, so we'll see. She might be the one kind of sitting right behind Casilda 40 Tails, but moving really, really well over this racetrack.
She's 9-1 right now, trying to make it 3 in a row. Maggie, thank you. Let's get JK's thoughts before the load.
Yeah, look, I'm with Andy when it comes to these horses that were bias-aided last time. The 2 Manchi Girl and the 8 Casilda 40 Tails. I want nothing to do with those 2 horses. I thought I wanted the 6. She's overbet. Give me the 7, Kali Magic. I think this horse ran well last time and could be on the improve.
Trevor McCarthy will be aboard. As you've been saying over the past couple of months, no one pays more attention to how this track really has been playing than Trevor McCarthy.
We taped a podcast with him this morning. That should be out by tomorrow. Always fun to talk to Trevor.
5-2 favorite remains Mark Hennig's Epona's Dream. Got the 2 Majny Girl as well. We're set for the feature. Here's Chris Griffin.
All set. And they're off. Speed from in between horses, If I Had a Chance. Also Majny Girl up on the far outside is Casilda 40 Tails. These 3 across the track, and behind them is a wide Kali Magic in 4th. If I Had a Chance has got the lead. Further back here in the 5th position, that's Amity Island. Orange Cap is Epona's Dream. Second to last is Frost Me, and the trailer is BB's Busted. Now Majny Girl has secured the front end. If I Had a Chance is tracking into the 2 path with a wide Casilda 40 Tails. Plenty of pace on here. Kali Magic, Trevor McCarthy, they're in 4th. They're stalking and moving closer, coming after the leading trio. Another 2.5 back to Amity Island. Epona's Dream is towards the back of the field with the gray Frost Me, and the trailer is BB's Busted, 23.78 for a pressured opening quarter mile. To the inside, it's Mashni Girl and Kendra Carmouche. They're a neck in front of Kazilda 40 Tails, who's getting closer here from second. Losing some ground is If I Had a Chance. Here's Kali Magic, who had a nice trip, is ranging up 3 wide coming after the leaders. Frost Me, BB's Busted. They start to launch a rally from the back of the field to the outside of Epona's Dream, who's driven along, and tailing off is Amity Island to be the trailer. Mashni Girl has found more. 48.03 for a half-mile time is 2.5 lengths in front. If I Had a Chance is now trying to re-rally up on the outside coming after this leader. Also chasing is Kali Magic, BB's Busted, Yellow Cap, and there's Frost Me. 4 wide, Frost Me the gray, covered in mud, but here comes Frost Me motoring down the center of the racetrack. Very game is Kali Magic, who's had a nice trip, and BB's Busted, a final 1/8 of a mile to go. Frost Me to the outside of Kali Magic, who tries to battle on back, and BB's Busted tries to get them both up on the outside. Frost Me kicks clear. Frost Me, BB's Busted. Frost Me, BB's Busted. Frost Me gets the victory. BB's Busted, then came Kali Magic and a late run from Epona's Dream in 1 minute 41.67 seconds.
6-1, Frost Me, John Kimmel, Eric Cancel take the feature.
Eric's having a terrific day and gave this horse a nice ride and gets the job done just barely over a very game Kali Magic, who is in good form. Thought the 4 slipping the rail out of shot, just not quite good enough. And I think the moral of this race is the incredible value in paying attention to the biases, because you had 2 horses that were short prices in here that had run big figures last time, that if you're somebody like myself and Jonathan that believe in playing on or against biases, you pitch them. Now, it may not have got you to the winner, a horse that I picked 3rd, but it would have certainly helped your chances.
18-1 in second underneath that 1-5 exact is going to be nice. 6-1 over 18-1 over 9-1 for the trifecta. 1-5-7-6 finish. Frost Me, owned by Whisper Hill Farm. Kimmel and Cancel 2 today for Eric. And it's the gray, daughter of Frosted, with the victory here in the feature. Let's get back out to Oaklawn. I'll give you these prices coming up in a moment. Still have the nightcap to come in New York. Race 5 from Oaklawn kicks off the late pick 5. $30,000 maiden claiming event. It's a 2-turn mile. And twice the price. My Favorite Uncle, both on the board, 5-2. Joel Rosario showing up again here on the 3, who has become the slight favorite. We start, though, with the 1.
Twice the price. The problem with twice the price is 0 for 12 with 5 seconds.
Coming in from the West Coast. Good figure last time out at Los Alamitos. Here's Jedrick, Nick Zito.
Yeah, I talked to Nick Zito the other day, but this one would really have to improve a lot.
19-1, very big price. My Favorite Uncle favored with Joel Rosario.
Well, Joel is sort of favored in everything, but like the 1, this is another horse that's 0 for 12, and this one has 1 second and 4 thirds. Sure, it can win, but you're always taking the worst fit and price with Joel.
9-1, Uncle Mo's Cat for Wayne Potts.
Yeah, this horse is more of a sprinting turf horse than anything. Now going long in the dirt. Good luck.
At least lowest level the 5's been at yet, but did very little running last start.
Yeah, Prince of Earl. Is he related to the Duke of Earl?
I would think not. I am not even going to try to pronounce the 6.
Yeah, good call. Mini Kanju. This horse is very dangerous dropping down. I think makes a lot of sense in this race. The distance is a bit of a concern, though, but I think his player in here.
Can't be that easy, can it, that pronunciation? 25-1 Chisholm Trail. Blinkers off.
This one's off the claim for a trainer I'm not familiar with. We'll see.
Claimed off the debut. Now with Carl Broberg. Blame George.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Carl Broberg's numbers off the claim at Oaklawn, not straight. He's 1 for 29 with maidens off the claim on the dirt at Oaklawn.
First in for a tag for pregame now with Ron Moquette.
I think this is a very, very dangerous horse as well. I look at the first time for a tag horses 6 and 9, and this is, to me, is the one to beat.
I agree. Mohit outside, new barn. Fourth barn he's been in.
This would be a surprise. Claimed for $10,000 last time out.
Pick 5 starts here. It's 5 minutes to post. Let's check in again with Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, let's talk about the 1 horse twice the price for Jerry Hollendorfer. This horse looked great walking into the paddock. He's slicked off, dappled out, been training exceptionally well. I've been watching him in the mornings. And look, yeah, he's had 12 chances with 5 seconds, and that throws you off. But his only 2 races on dirt were his last 2 races, and they were his best speed figures that he's had. And just watching him in the morning, I know that he's prepared. He's not carrying too much weight. Like everything about him, I think he's being underbet at 5-2. To be honest with you, as compared with the 3 horse. The other horse I'm going to talk about is Mini Conjure, the 6 horse, and I think you guys did pronounce it right. I've got the trainer, Alan Milligan, standing right up behind me right now, but he's alert. He's on his toes. I got a little concern about the distance, but it appears to me he may have more speed than anybody in this race. If he gets out in front, it's just going to be a matter of can he last the mile distance today, guys.
Yeah, showed that West Coast speed, certainly at 5.5 furlongs last time out, and sat just off an opening quarter where they were blazing. And from the rail, you got to think it's go and send with twice the price of the 1.
Isn't potentially the speed the long shot on the far outside, the 10? I mean, that horse, I know he's got an outside and a tough post to be the speed, but isn't he potentially the speed in this race? Come winging from out there?
I think he's quicker than the 1.
Let me take another look.
Back to Frost Me. That gray, splitting horses right now, still near the back of the pack. He's going to get up for the win here at 6-1.
And he didn't break that well either. He ran very, very well to get it done. Eric's having a good day getting him done. And it's an interesting race. And, you know, this is, to me, even though I didn't win the race, there's a certain amount of satisfaction in seeing a race like this and knowing that the 2 and 8 are the horses to bet against. And they didn't run well. And that just sort of, it proves the whole theory of horses' performances sometimes are have much more to do with the racetrack than necessarily the horse itself. And the racetrack carried those horses, and in a more fair circumstance, they just weren't competitive.
In the end, 6-1, and then BB's Busted, who looked like she had no business off the recent couple of races being any part of this, getting up for second at a huge price.
Yeah, I mean, she would have absolutely busted up this pick 6. And I'm going to take a look, Greg, while we do the follow on the pick 6 and see who's covered.
By the way, just over 500.
Yeah, there will be horses not covered. There might have been an absolute carryover if the second horse had won. The 2, 3, 5, 8, 11, and 12 are covered. So that 9, 10, 6, and 4, and 1 aren't covered. And I like the 4. They're $1 million.
All right, so we'll see if we can get to a double carryover. Of course, rooting for those who are still alive. Hopefully you can get it home.
190,000 carryover if not. There's 3 tickets on the 11 and the 5. Okay. It's a wide open race.
All right, back to New York. Back to Hot Springs. This 5th race 2 minutes away. So that inside runner coming in from Los Alamitos actually is the favorite right now, 2-1.
I think he's a terrible favorite, personally. He's an 0-for-12 horse who, I guess he wasn't short prices in some of those races, but he's stretching out from 5.5 to a mile. I don't know that he's going to have an easy time getting the lead. Maybe he will, but I think there's other possibilities in here, and I'm not overly optimistic about this horse's chances. I think he's a bad favorite. I just don't bet 0-for-12 horses. Be fair, he's only 0-for-3 on the dirt, though, you know?
Yeah. Most of his races synthetic, a couple of turf starts as well. And look, we both pointed out in pre-game, first time in for a tag, that alone, you got to give this horse a big look.
Gee, I think he makes an awful lot of sense. Second off a layoff, met much tougher last time out. I'll tell you something else about his last race. I don't know that the rail was bad last time. It seemed like it was okay. This horse was just glued to the rail. He wasn't in the 1 1/4 path. He was on the rail. I like pregame. He'll probably lose a photo.
Someone who knows how to pregame with the best of them. Jonathan.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 1 twice the price. And look, I see what Andy's saying. The horse is 0-for-12. But to Andy's point, a lot of those races took place on the synthetic. A lot of those races took place in maiden special weight. A lot of those races also took place with connections that are not in the Hall of Fame, with Jerry Hollendorfer. And so I'm just thinking that maybe this horse will improve second time for Jerry Hollendorfer. Does have some tactical speed from the inside in a race where I didn't see a lot of early speed. And sometimes you start getting to these lower level claiming races, I just want to be forward because in my opinion, it's kind of the difference between these maiden claimers and maiden special weight horses. That determination, that will to win, that drive when you get into a fight to kind of dig in and not let other horses pass you. So I'm hopeful that Twice the Price will just get out, get loose, get comfortable, and wire this field.
Public agrees he's the favorite. Coming in from the West Coast now with Jerry Hollendorfer's second start in his barn.
Not for me.
Here's the 9 pregame. As we've touched on, Son of More Than Ready. We'll have Ramon Vasquez aboard.
Probably
easiest company he's faced.
Yeah, I like the drop downs in these kind of races.
Vic Stauffer kicking off this late pick 5 from Oaklawn.
They're at the post. They're off. Pre-game broke well, so did Mini Conjou. Uncle Mo's Cat is hard sent. Blame George is in the center, and there goes Blame George all the way to put a neck in front. Twice the Price is next, then Jedrick and My Favorite Uncle, followed by Prince of Earl. At the back of the pack are Chisholm Trail and Mo Heat. To the backstretch they run, and Mini Conjou rides the rail to a short lead from a pumped-up Blame George to the outside. These two will match strides. Mini Conjou ahead in front. Blame George is second by 2 lengths to Pregame, who tracks the front runners in third. Then comes Uncle Mo's Cat, fourth in the blue and about 4 from the front, 2 in front of Twice the Price. My Favorite Uncle is next, with Prince of Earl outside of him and Chisholm Trail at the rail. Then it's 2 back to Mo Heat, and the trailer is Jedrick. Midway on the backstretch, finish line is the 16th pole, and Mini Conjou is the leader. It is Mini Conjou, 3/4 of a length in front of Blame George in second. Then comes Uncle Mo's Cat. Pregame has been passed by Twice the Price, and here's the California Invader, Twice the Price, to get up into a joint third now and 2 from the front. Then comes the Chisholm Trail. My Favorite Uncle is next, 3 back to Prince of Earl, and Jedrick. Mini Conjou still in front. Top of the stretch, Mini Conjou, a length and a half in front from Uncle Mo's Cat. Twice the Price continues to move up, and Uncle Mo's Cat is challenging Mini Conjou, new leader at the top of the stretch. Uncle Mo's Cat now 2 in front. Mini Conjou is a second. Then comes Jedrick to the center of the track, closing in third, but it's Uncle Mo's Cat clear to the wire. My Favorite Uncle and Jedrick, Uncle Mo's Cat in front. Uncle Mo's Cat won by about 4.5. Very close for second. Maybe My Favorite Uncle over Jedrick.
Uncle Mo's Cat, Giovanni Franco. Wayne Potts 0 for 11 coming in and just puts this field away.
If I didn't see this and I just saw the chart, I'd say, no, that was a different Uncle Mo's Cat. He was moving up in class after running a horrifically mediocre 4th against Weaker last time with a soft trip. He's shown no indication he has any stamina whatsoever. He galloped by 10 lengths. How did I miss him? Did I miss something on this horse? How could you have this horse? Should I bet every Wayne Potts horse that runs the next week?
He was dominant here.
He galloped.
Not even close. Nightcap still coming up. We're going to look ahead to Saturday as well. Holly Hughes feature on tomorrow's card. What do you think now? Ran the race of his life last start. Can he back it up? Going against My Boy Tate, the 7-time stakes winner.
Harris Farms, proudly standing Smiling Tiger, a triple grade 1 winner, defeating Breeders' Cup champions Dancing in Silks and Amazombie, a leading California sire with over $9.7 million in progeny earnings, with 94 winners in 2021 and graded stakes superstars like Spice Perfection.
Spice Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
And Tiger Dad. Smiling Tiger, a leading California sire, standing at Harris Farms. It pays to be Cal bred.
My Boy Tate on the outside. 3 of them across the track inside the 8th pole. I Love Lulu and My Boy Tate. It's between those two. Now it's My Boy Tate to take the lead in deep stretch. And what a couple of days for Dylan Davis.
My Boy Tate looked for some room between horses. Amundsen trails. Tribeca trying to fend off Big Engine, trying to hold off My Boy Tate. Past the 8th pole, Tribeca grimly holding on. Big Engine, here comes My Boy Tate. Tribeca far outside My Boy Tate, takes the lead, and My Boy Tate gonna take the Holly Hughes by a length and a half.
Now 8 years old, My Boy Tate looking for a third Holly Hughes. 7-time stakes winner in his career. Neat horse for Michelle Nevin, who last time out he was probably best in, say, Florida Sandy, but deservedly DQ.
Not in my opinion.
No?
No, I thought it was a terrible decision, but clearly the stewards disagreed with me. He's a terrific old pro. The problem he has is he's got only, this is a 2-horse race. I mean, having said that, they'll probably run 5th and 6th, but his main competition is the controlling speed, and that works against him a little bit.
So he's just off this gray here, and Eric Cancel going to go through this tight opening. Bumps with Chestertown.
Well, he was pushed into Chestertown by the horses being eased, who was pushed into him by the horse who's 3 wide now, who also drifted in at this point. To me, this was a terrible misunderstanding of what circumstances took place on the racetrack, in my opinion.
And there's no question he was best in the race. So he'll come into this race again looking for a 3rd in a row. Manny Franco, he'll be back aboard. Was Eric Cancel in that race?
Yeah, not surprising. Probably not a good decision by Eric to put him into that spot. I believe he got put in tight, as you can see that horse drifting. And I think a lot of circumstances in there. I don't think the horse he fouled was going anywhere anyway. It's hard to disagree with that. But they made a decision. They make decisions I agree with a lot, and some I don't agree with.
11-time winner. He's going to look for the 12th win of his career coming up. Meanwhile, a horse who just ran the race of his life last time out. He's been great here at Aqueduct. I guess, what do you think now? 5-year-old son of Fast Anna. He was a distant second to Happy Medium. Highly touted sprinter who actually came back and got beat last week. But this race for him, this was huge.
It was a triple-digit buyer and obviously a figure who would win this race. But is really the similar discussion we just had about our 7th race here. He was on a very, very strong rail, and his performance was massively enhanced by the racetrack. The thing is, even if he runs back and runs 5 lengths slower, as the controlling speed on a fair racetrack, he still may have a tactical advantage over the other horse. So he'll have the right advantage in this race, but for me, I have to bet against him because he's dressed up by the racetrack last time out.
We'll see if he can back up a race that he's never quite produced before. It was sensational. Trevor McCarthy will be aboard. I mean, he's the 4-5 morning line favorite. You think he'll be favored in the race?
He will, because he's the controlling speed. I think the public will be hip to the fact that he was helped by the bias. And I think a lot of the money will understand his last race is dressed up. But even if he didn't have that race, he has relatively comparable speed figures, and he's the controlling speed. So his tactical advantage probably makes him the favorite. I picked My Boy Tate, but they are the 2 players.
Hard to see really anyone else in that race beyond those 2.
They would both have to not show up. And the thing about the 2 of them is they're pretty consistent runners that show up much more often than not.
That is coming up tomorrow. That is the feature, race 8 on the Saturday card. Cross-country pick 5 sequence. It is leg 2. It begins at Tampa Bay race 8 and includes also that Dixie Bell, which we're going to preview a little bit later on in the program. A lot of fillies that we got to know in the New York circuit coming in off lengthy layoffs.
It's amazing. It's got the winner of the Astoria, which was the first 2-year-old filly stake we ran last year, the winner of the Schuylerville, the second 2-year-old filly stake we ran last year, and the winner of the Adirondack, the third filly 2-year-old stake we ran last year. And each one of those horses is making their first start in a while. Pretty Birdie won the Schuylerville's been off since the spin away. But I tell you, that race, the Dixie Bell came up a terrific race. And those 2 turf stakes at Tampa, I don't know if you've looked yet, Greg. They're fun races.
I have it all for you tomorrow. We look forward to it. It's going to be a great sequence. Nightcap in New York, 7/8 of a mile. It's a $20,000 maiden claiming group. This is wide open and a big scratch as well with a horse who probably would have been your favorite in here. The 7 is out. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
We'll take a look at a horse who has been a bit of a handful to get the tack on, and that is number 8, Total Effort, who actually in his last race I thought ran pretty well. Now, he was with the racetrack a bit in the day you wanted to stay off the rail, but furthermore, he was never really in a comfortable spot. And when you're dealing with these lower level claimers, you need everything to kind of go the right way. And for them to have clear paths, to, they don't really want to pass horses. And he was just in amongst horses the entire time. He kind of dropped back on the turn, then he re-rallied, only to be beaten a length. He's definitely got a little fire in his belly here. It seems as though this is my first time laying eyes on him here in his fourth career start. And I'm assuming he's always like this because they brought him in with the pony. They saddled him on the walk away from the rest of the crew. But he is on the muscle. He's on it, but he looks fantastic here as Wayne Potts looks to continue a pretty successful day across the country. Moving on to number 4, Rye Runner will be ridden by Heman Harkey. Second off the claim for Rachel Keithan. And I remember talking to her prior to this guy's last start. He was actually supposed to run in a race in which we canceled that day's racing, and he was almost over the top when he came into the paddock. He was just running everybody over. He was quite the handful for his groom. And today, he's completely different. And a lot of times, when you have a horse ready to run and then they cancel, you miss works. You can't train them quite the way you want to because there was a lot of snow on the ground. So it seems as though she's kind of taken the edge off of him. He cuts back to the 7 furlongs, which I'm okay with. I was very optimistic about him liking the route race. But 2, he gets the class relief. He didn't do any that much running in that race, to be fair. But I like this kind of demeanor 180 in that he's very focused and calm, and physically he looks great. He's a big, good-looking horse, so I think he's a little bit interesting at a price. But the first-time starter taking some play, very tepid favor, is Stone Surprise, a 4-year-old making his debut here, son of Giant Surprise. Despite being by Grindstone, the dam, she was a dirt sprinter and she's produced dirt sprinters at lower levels, but this is a lower level, and he looks as though he belongs quite nicely with this crew here. He's a very broad individual, a lot of substance to him, really laid back though in this debut. So we'll see, does he show some gate speed? That is usually typical of horses taking money in their debut, but at least he's not acting like it here in the paddock. But physically, I like everything I'm seeing, Greg.
All right, first-time starter catching the eye of Maggie right now is the favorite here in this nightcap.
Yeah, I like the 4 Rye Runner in here, and I was hoping Jackie Davis was originally named. We even mentioned this in the show on Sunday. I said I like Jackie in the last race on Friday, but Jackie's not going to ride, and Heman Harkey is. But this, to me, is a clearly mismanaged horse. This horse's first 2 races, he lost to Olympiad and Caddo River in Saratoga. Olympiad is probably the favorite in the stake race this weekend and one of the better 4-year-olds in the country. Then he ran in the biggest key race of the entire year against Speaker's Corner, Caddo River, Greatest Honor, and Miles D. his next start. And for whatever reason, I know he didn't run that well in there, but he didn't really run that badly. For whatever reason, his trainer brought him back, and not only did he run him in maiden races, but also maiden claiming races on the turf. Well, Upstart's not a turf sire. He doesn't have a turf pedigree. He finally got him on the dirt, and he caught a sloppy track that he didn't handle at all. Now, I know this track's listed as muddy, but it's closer to good, and it's a complete polar opposite of the one he ran in the slop that day. And when claimed, Maggie hit it on this. This horse was entered in a $20,000 maiden claimer. He could have won, and it was canceled. So Rachel Keithan, who has the horse, who used to be Danny Gargan's assistant, she took a spot where he couldn't win. A, he was going too far to mile, and B, he was running against $40,000 maiden claimers much better than these. He got a horrifically bad ride that day. The rider, I think, thought the race was 3 furlongs and not a mile and made this preposterous wide middle move in there. Now, he was also obviously eased. But this horse is a lot better than he may look at first glance. I don't know, 7 furlongs? I wish it was 6. We'll see. Not an easy race, but I think he's a very, very interesting horse in here.
Got to work, too, that sort of catches your attention coming into this. Second quickest of 99 in the morning leading into this start.
He's never really had a chance in a dirt race he could win in since running against Speaker's Corner, Caddo River, Greatest Honor, who won 2 stakes, and 3-year-old and Miles D, who's another horse, along with Olympiad, who's running in the mine shaft at New Orleans and could be one of the better handicap older horses in the country.
Riders getting a leg up here in a moment, 5 minutes away from this finale on our Friday card. where we came in with a pick 6 carryover and a very good chance that we could potentially have a double carryover heading into Saturday.
190,000. Is it me, Greg, or is it confusing that tomorrow's Saturday?
Why is that?
Because we don't normally start a week on Friday.
Oh, okay.
We're racing on Thursday and Friday because we're running a 4-day week through Monday, but we don't normally start on Friday, like after that break.
You live your life by a horse racing calendar, I understand.
I do. What do you live your life by? Your life is ruled by horse racing as well, Greg. Own it.
Pick 6 will pays lot of double carryovers heading into Saturday. Again, the 1, 4, 6, 9, and 10 all result in this not getting hit.
Yeah, the 6 isn't impossible. The 10 isn't impossible. The 4 is not impossible. I mean, it's not a race that has a lot of form. The 5 at one time was the best horse, but his last race was so bad. How can you trust him?
What's Christmas for you on your horse racing calendar?
I'm Jewish, so Christmas really is the day I watch a lot of NBA basketball games.
I thought you were going to say opening day Saratoga. 8th at Saratoga, War Novel.
That's Hanukkah for me, Greg.
12-1 kicks it off here.
His last race, obviously a disaster, switches to Ray Handel first time in New Gelding.
0 for 29 with the 2.
0 for 29, but he's got races that give him a chance to at least get a piece.
First timer who was the favorite.
Yeah, I have trouble believing this horse will be favored by post time. I'm not going to knock a first timer. This one has no pedigree.
Sire that stands for 2,500, sold for 45,000. Here's Rye Runner, who you like.
Today's the day he needs to show he can still run a little bit.
Heeman Harkey rides. Here's the 5, Exalted Charm.
Well, I mean, his last race, when he dropped down, he wasn't being Rock Sugar, but he was clearly the second best horse. He was virtually eased. I don't know what to do with him, but he's got races that could kill this field.
Mr. J.T. David Donk.
Yeah, saw Dave Donk a little bit earlier. He's one that has a chance to get a piece in here. He's not that bad, right?
Yeah. Ailsa Morrison rides. The 8 total effort, Wayne Potts, Trevor McCarthy.
I understand. He mentioned a photo with a few in this race last time out. I'm not a big fan of his. I thought the horse you won out of that race is the 12, We Ready.
Napoleon Complex, 12 starts, has never hit the board.
Yeah, it's a little tough to take.
This one will be easy to find on the track here. Run, White Rabbit.
Why is that, Greg? First time in a maiden claiming race on dirt for Juan Vasquez, but he's never lifted a hoof in a dirt race, so I don't know.
Blinkers on the 11, who's taking some attention, 701.
Yeah, I don't like this horse, but he does get a rider change for what it's worth.
Did have a second beat a nose. That was in the slop sprinting, though. And then We Ready outside. Eric Cancel looking for number 3 today.
Yeah, I think this horse makes a lot of sense. Less distance is his friend. He moved too soon last time out in a race that fell apart. He couldn't handle the slop 2 back. I think even though it's muddy, it's a Harrow track, and he's been on 2 straight sealed tracks. I think the Harrow track is a lot different.
2 minutes to post here in this finale coming up. Let's go back to the 8 here and take a look at this performance from Total Effort. And what did you not like about it?
Well, I just think it was a terrible field. I think We Ready is the worst you want from there. We Ready probably moved too soon in here. I don't think the Total Effort had the best of trips either, and I think ran fine in here. I don't love either one of these horses. My feeling is Total Effort doesn't have... His first race was good enough. His last races have been sadly mediocre. Whereas We Ready has back races to get to that maybe a not a sealed track will help him out. I'm not saying Total Effort's impossible here. I just didn't really like the horse.
Second start off the claim for the Wayne Potts barn. Again, Trevor McCarthy rides at 4-1. Let's go to Jonathan.
Yeah, I thought a couple of horses in the middle of the pack were kind of interesting. The 5, Exalted Charm. This is a horse that, if you look at his race 2 back, going the 7 furlongs in the maiden special weight race, that race absolutely wins this race. Got hooked in a fast pace, kind of started to fall apart late, but then was just really bad last time and didn't have a complete excuse, was actually facing lesser. And so I kind of, at a short price, I'm a little bit dubious about the 5, Exalted Charm, but he's a horse that I do think can win. I wouldn't be shocked if he did. The other one I thought was interesting was the 6, Mr. JT. It's a horse that has had some okay races, and then the last 2 races took place on a sloppy racetrack. And so I'm trying to just pretend that, let's just pretend that Mr. JT doesn't like a sloppy racetrack. So if we can come to that conclusion, you can draw a line through those last 2 races, and then you look at the race prior to that on November 13th, and that race would be competitive versus these. So at 10-1, I'm fine playing the does Mr. JT want a dry track game, but it seems like something interesting is happening out there. So enough of me. Maggie, can you help us?
Is there something interesting happening out here, JK? I don't see anything too interesting. Oh, the 8 is off. Sorry, my back is turned towards the from the gate. Yes, we do see the jockey off number 8. Total effort in here. I don't know what's going on, to be completely honest. I can't see. My eyes just aren't that good. But let's talk about number 5, Exalted Charm, as Trevor McCarthy is back aboard Total Effort. As I said in the paddock, though, Total Effort was acting up quite a bit. So sometimes when they have the saddle horses on the walk, the saddle isn't quite where the rider wants it. Probably just a saddle adjustment. As number 5, Exalted Charm, look, he looks exactly the same as what he did going back to that poor effort back on January 28th. Thing I can say is Jose Gomez, at least, I'm sure has a lot of experience getting on this horse. Not only is this his 3rd start on him, but having worked with the Kelly Breen barn quite intimately over the past several months, I'm sure he knows him. And as Greg, you put it out, he did warm up well. It's just, I wish I would have seen something that sparked my interest with him, and I just don't see it today.
All right, Maggie, he's 7-2 favorite in this spot.
Well,
where it's hard to make anyone the favorite.
No, I would never bet this horse, but there is an argument. He's got races in him relatively recently that will kill his field. His last race was atrocious.
Lowest level he has ever run at, and off of that, certainly some reason to play him here. It's the 8 who's the favorite. The Run Happy Total Effort with Trevor McCarthy. We'll see if we're going to have a double carryover in the pick 6 heading into Saturday's card. Let's see what happens here in the nightcap. Chris Griffin, the call.
All in 9. All set. And they're off. Speed from in between horses here is Total Effort, who's gone right out to the front, also in the early fray. There's Mr. JT in the green cap and Exalted Charm. It's going to be Exalted Charm and Mr. JT. They're 1-2. At the rail is War Novel, who's got forward momentum with Run. White Rabbit out in the center of the racetrack. That one's going to challenge for 3rd. In between horses there comes Total Effort. Also wide comes Romantic Man, who's in that 2nd grouping. They're 3 in front of Rye Runner, who's under a tight hold. Towards the back of the field, A Light under a drive. We Ready, Napoleon Complex, and far back, Stone Surprise is the trailer. Exalted Charm has got the lead. Mr. JT and Run White Rabbit is the big gray up on the outside, is ranging up 3 wide. Run White Rabbit is launching a 3 wide rally, is coming after the leaders. Here comes War Novel, who's in 4th. Still in between horses there is Exalted Charm, losing some ground, Mr. JT. Run White Rabbit is in pursuit out in the center of the racetrack. Exalted Charm, Run White Rabbit is trying to put a nose in front. Exalted Charm is not done to the inside. Exalted Charm, Run White Rabbit, an oncoming Rye Runner. Rye Runner up on the outside, Run White Rabbit. Exalted Charm, A Light, 8th to go. Exalted Charm is still finding. Run White Rabbit just can't press on by. Rye Runner with a late rally, A Light. Exalted Charm is holding them off. Exalted Charm gets the victory. It's going to be a tight photo here for 2nd. Rye Runner to the outside of A Light, and Run White Rabbit in 1 minute 28.67 seconds.
Exalted Charm, Jose Gomez, the apprentice, does it again here for Kelly Breen.
Well, this was a horse that if you could forgive his last race, he was going to win here. The question was, could you forgive his last race? Well, if you could, you had him. Very happy to. Feels like my 4 got up for 2nd, Greg. Rye Runner, he was lugging in the stretch. Well, you wonder if Rye Runner hadn't been lugging in the stretch and he just kept that straight path, Greg, in the middle of the track, he might have won this race. You know, they
really
were tiring up
like
front.
He had a lot of momentum going until about there.
It's not, I mean, I'm not blaming the rider. He may just be that kind of horse. But, you know, with a horse like the 4 Rye Runner, who was almost 20-1, he wasn't that hard to come up with once you just sort of analyze what I said, right? The last times this horse ran against the best 2-year-olds in the country, and he's really never had a fair chance to run in a dirt race since then. And I think the real question becomes, why did his previous trainer not run him in the dirt before at least running him in those maiden claimers on the turf? Well, he didn't, but the first time he got a chance to be in not a sealed racetrack, he ran 2nd at 20-1. He was playable.
19-1, 20-1, 20-1 in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. With a 7-2 shot on top. Jose Gomez, young apprentice who's quickly rolling through his conditions very quickly, is going to become a journeyman rider the way he's going. Exalted Charm with the victory to close out the Aqueduct card. A lot more coming up from Oaklawn. We'll be back after a quick break.
Eclipse champion Blaine ranks among the nation's top sires at a fraction of the price. His recent top runners include Aga Khan stud Saidabad, a top performer overseas, stakes winners Mandate, Officiating, Love the Nest, Dancing Kiki, and Blame JD. With success on the track and success in the ring, this proven son of Arch is truly a gold value stallion. Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program because New York breds start with an advantage. New York breds run for serious green. At Belmont and Saratoga, New York bred maidens run for up to $75,000 and allowance horses for up to $85,000. And serious New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race in open company. So get back with the program. Seriously.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Watching America's Day at the Races on FS2, program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net. Today, card in the books in New York, Exalted Charm, Kelly Breen, Jose Gomez for Manhattan Racing Stable to win.
I'm just so happy that he was able to refine his better form today and get it done. But he's one of those horses that, you know, sometimes you have to say to yourself, I have no excuse for his last race, but at least he's 7-2, you know? And you know he's going to beat this field in all likelihood if he runs his race. And he didn't run quite as good race, but his B or C race was good enough to win here. I waited a long time for the right chance with Rye Runner. I can't complain. I wish he had kept a straight path, but what are you going to do? At least he got second for me.
5-4-2. Pick 5. Big here. It's over $10,000 for the pick 5. There's going to be again pick 6 getting hit, $63,348. There were a lot of opportunities for a carryover,
including the 4 and the 10.
Did not happen though in the end. So this gets hit, $63,348.
Three winners, and by the way, you hit this thing, the tip of the hat.
Yeah,
you deserve it.
Sharp handicap.
Tremendous job.
Again, the pick 5, just over $10K. And our Aqueduct Showdown online contest. A couple of bankrolls in the 500s there, including our winner.
Wow. I mean, you got 5 people over 400. Each one of them smarter than me.
Very good handicapping. Well done, everybody. Again, you can play each and every day. Naira.com/showdown to get involved. Let's get back to Oaklawn.
Let's.
Late pick 4. 6th race here, $6,000 claiming group, 6 furlong sprint. And here's a look at the remaining half of the entry. Arrows figure breaks towards the outside.
Yeah. Sorry, Greg. I'm a little behind. I apologize.
Speed from that outside post.
That's what I was going to say. And I agree with you.
But
not much ability.
The rail to the 3.
Yeah, with the scratch of the 2 as well. This one also has some speed, but like the 1A, I'm not sure how much stamina.
Mary Alice at 16-1.
If your name is Mary or Alice, you're in. If you're not, I don't know. It's not going to take a Herculean effort to win here, though, is it?
No. Fable's Love Affair, 7-1.
I mean, this horse doesn't seem totally impossible in here. I thought it was a bit of a player. I had a lot of horses open here.
Well, the form last time out at Lone Star last year at Oaklawn probably wins it for the 6.
I agree. The problem is I'm not taking favorites that are coming out of Robertino Diodoro's barn. No, thank you. But obviously, you're right. He could kill this field if he runs his races, but not for me.
Isabel's Joy at 19-1.
A bit of a stretch in here.
11-1. Lady Magna, another 7-year-old mare here.
You know, she just fell apart after the race off the claim from Carl Broberg, but drops back to the level she was claimed when ran second.
Potentially a little bit of pace with the 9.
Yeah, I thought the 9, who you know, we'll see where this horse is sitting, but I thought this was the logical alternative. Claim for 10,000, drops in for Carl Broberg.
And Diva de Kayla, 7-2.
Problem with this horse is she hasn't won in a long, long time, but I don't think she's impossible, making a little bit of a drop, Greg.
Minute to post coming up, and public backing Shackelford County. You know, Aiden Green, it was kind of her coming out party at this meet last year. Slow start this year, but she's got the one to beat, no question, in this race, but now 7 years old, coming off a lengthy layoff, hasn't raced since early July, and coming out of one of the best claiming barns in the country.
Yeah, I mean, these are the kind of horses that they are hard to resist, right? You look at them on paper and you say, well, all this horse has to do is show up with any semblance of, I would say, Greg, seriously, 7 of the last 8 races. But the problem is, you got a horse that hasn't run in 7 months, and it's going from one of the most productive and dangerous claiming barns in the country, if not the world, in theory, to a trainer who wins a bit, but nothing like Diodoro. I could never bet this horse.
And you do have someone in the 9 who's actually beat Shackelford County straight up. It was a while ago when they met, September 2020. But the 9 does own a win over the favorite, and you're getting 3-1.
You know, and he is my alternative, but once again, he's not exactly that appealing too, right? He ran for 25,000 two back. He was claimed for 10,000 last time in a conditional claiming race. Now he's running for 6,000. So he's your alternative. I mean, it's not exactly reliability on parade.
That's what you get here in a bottom-level claiming race. Not a lot of consistency or reliability. There is the 9 stepping in. Honey Parade looking for her 5th career victory. And trying to do it to this favorite one more time, Shackelford County, the 6, who is, without question, the one to beat, but a long layoff, new barn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're off. Shackelford County wins the break from Aerosphere and Honey Parade. Diva de Kayla close 4th. Then comes Isabel's Joy, followed by Midnight Karma and Mary Alice. Lady Magna is next, and the trailer is Fable's Love Affair. It is Aerosphere narrowly in front of Shackelford County, tightly at the rail in 2nd. A half length to Honey Parade in 3rd. She's less than a length from the front. Isabel's Joy just behind her, as is Midnight Karma. 2.5 back to Diva de Kayla, who's on the move now, but about 4 from the front. She's a length in front of Mary Alice. Lady Magna second to last. Fable's Love Affair is still the trailer, and the leader is still Aerosphere. Aerosphere, 3/4 of a length from Honey Parade, who has moved up to take 2nd. Shackelford County backs out now. She's 3rd, and 2 lengths from the front. Then comes Midnight Karma and Mary Alice, top of the stretch. Here's Honey Parade outside of Aerosphere, and Honey Parade has taken over the lead. She's a length in front, but charging in the middle of the track is Midnight Karma, and she means business. Honey Parade just a half ahead. Midnight Karma trying to push on by, and she does. Midnight Karma now 2 in front. Honey Parade, Shackelford County, and Fable's Love Affair. Midnight Karma in front. Midnight Karma won by 2.5. Honey Parade was 2nd. Shackelford County 3rd. Fable's Love Affair finished 4th.
Midnight Karma used to be with Steve Asmussen. 6-year-old debut for John Prather gets the win.
I know he has back races. I couldn't have had this horse anyway, and I'm not trying to redboard him. But I will say once again, the 2nd and 3rd horses were vulnerable horses. And Greg, don't you feel a little bit like it's sort of a theme of today's races? You know, you find these horses that are not as good as they look on paper. There are reasons to maybe play against them. That's not to say you could have the winners, and I couldn't have the winners of any of these races. But if you look for vulnerable favorites and you play against them, over time, you're going to make money. I just wouldn't have made money with any of these horses
this
today.
One trying to see the price this one went off at.
Steve Asmussen horse.
8-1. Wow, got bet down.
I mean, listen, to be fair, 3 and 4 back, he ran buyer figures that make him a major player. I'm redboarding him, and I didn't like him, but I can see why some people bet on him.
4th career win for Midnight Karma. Roman Vasquez aboard. We're going to take a timeout. We're going to get back on the Derby Trail and preview the weekend when we come back. And Smile Happy, the son of Run Happy, one of the leaders on that Derby Trail, and a showdown with Zandon coming up.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe. And his offspring are lighting up the sales ring. With his biggest and best quality of books in the pipeline, the sun shines bright on this value sire. Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
On America's Day at the Races, program brought to you where you can play it all. Go to NyraBets.com, download that NyraBets app, and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Back at Oaklawn in the 6th, Midnight Karma, making her 6-year-old debut and winning for the 4th time in her career.
And a nice ride. A horse you would have thought would have been more forwardly placed, but took back, split horses facilely, and drew off to a fairly comfortable win.
Things were looking okay for Honey Parade until about right here.
It's always good for a speed horse until they get passed.
To my point. Like that analysis?
That was, Greg, that's why you make the big bucks.
6-year-old mare, Daughter of Violence, with the victory, owned by Troy and Michael Langford. And
do they look okay to you, Greg?
You hear a lot of times people say, oh, the prices?
Yeah,
we got these ones
they
right.
Look good.
And we said it here. Look, Diodoro to Aiden Green. You're just reticent to do that, but Asmussen
that's
to
fair.
A new barn.
At least 8-1. At least got $19, and I'm not endorsing that, or I can't redboard that horse.
7th at Oaklawn, 6 furlongs, $50,000 maiden claiming event here coming up in this race. Zamuda, couple back, ran at this level, ran a pretty good race at this level.
Well, I mean, any horse that's name is in any way related to Andy Kaufman is good enough for me.
I know, I thought for sure you'd want to stay for this race.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, Greg. It's hard to believe. I do, but Maggie also wants to get up here, and she's stronger than I am.
Goodbye to Andy Serling until tomorrow. So we'll see you for tomorrow's card. Again, we're still going to preview later in the show that Dixie Bell. Holly Hughes here from New York.
Yeah, and the races down at Tampa that are part of that cross-country Big Five. That's a really fun sequence with the stakes at Oaklawn, stake at Oaklawn, allowance at Oaklawn, 2 stakes at Tampa, and our Holly Hughes as well. It'll be fun. Looking forward. You and I will be spending a few hours together.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Again, as Andy said, Maggie joining me on the desk right after this. We are going to preview that Dixie Bell, Wicked Halo. And happy soul for Wesley Ward. Back-to-back victories by more than 22 lengths combined coming off the bench for WW. John Velasquez will ride. Going to be taking on Wicked Halo. Adirondack winner the last time we saw her at Saratoga.
Run Happy, the #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse Champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
If you're looking into racing partnerships, you should know they're not all the same. When you partner with Bond Racing Stables, you become a member of a growing family of racing enthusiasts, all guided by 3 generations of experience in thoroughbred breeding, training, and racing. Sharing the excitement at Saratoga and Belmont Park, where we've graced the winner's circle with winners like Giacosa, who was bred, born, and raised here at our Song Hill Farm. Get more than just a partnership. Become a member of the Bond Racing family. 3 generations of thoroughbred excellence.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Run Happy was going to be the last horse I ever owned, and I was getting out of the business. I had so many disappointments and heartbreaks and lost so much money at it, and then came Run Happy. So I guess the lesson there is persistence, never give up.
His performance in the Breeders' Cup Sprint was one that people will talk about for years to come. I mean, it was another, yet again, a freaky performance, set the track record. The way he did it was pretty incredible.
He won at Keeneland, he won at Saratoga.
Run Happy!
He won at Santa Anita, he won at several of the legendary places in horse racing.
Run Happy is simply super! He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu!
What a great horse, what a great thrill it was to be around Run Happy and now to follow his stud career. We couldn't be prouder to have Run Happy and have him stand at Claiborne Farms. That is myself and my daughter's happy place. We love Claiborne Farms, and Run Happy loves being there.
We put him in stall #1 for a reason. We have a lot of confidence in this horse. We think he has all the capabilities and characteristics that you kind of look for in a great stallion. You know, he had the speed, he had the form, he had the freaky talent, the athleticism, and he's really thrown it in his foals. And we're over the moon with what we've seen. We feel like we're in a great spot, and now it's up to the offspring to prove it.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races in our program. Of course, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. New partner on the desk with me for this final hour of action here coming up. Maggie Wolfendale, good to see you. We're going to preview some of the big races coming up this weekend.
I'm so looking forward to it. We were just discussing the Risen Star. That is quite a matchup. So looking forward to getting into that. But the Dixie Bell, talking about, you know, an interesting group of horses, several of which coming back off long layoffs.
I'm so excited for this race because a lot of fillies that we saw win stakes in New York last year, and this is just loaded with speed as well. It's the anchor leg of this cross-country Pick 5 that begins with race 8 at Tampa Bay tomorrow, so you can play this, of course, tomorrow. 3:48 Eastern start time for the sequence. The ABR race of the week is the Dixie Bell that will close out the cross-country Pick 5, 6 furlongs, $150,000 purse for sprinting 3-year-old fillies in this group. As mentioned, tons of speed, top to bottom, including Wesley Ward's Happy Soul, who that debut got beat in the slop at Keeneland, and then back-to-back wins by more than 22 lengths combined, including this one in the Astoria.
Yeah, beaten first time out by her male stablemate, Nakatomi. Now, I don't think it was who she was facing, obviously, with these blowout wins. But what she did, Greg, is that she beat the clock and that she ran very fast as a very early 2-year-old. You know, I was looking up Wesley Ward's numbers, and I thought I'd get a decent sample size coming back off of a 6-month-plus layoff as a newly 3-year-old, even I added in taking the blinkers off. He's 2 for 3, but they were all turf horses, which was strange to me. Now, look, even if there isn't any routine improvement, which naturally there tends to be, she still doesn't have to run that much faster than those 281s that she posted as a 2-year-old.
She was running very quick, and you see quite a few works on the turf, too. Is Wesley thinking about trying turf with her?
You know, you never know what Wesley's thinking. All I do know is that John Velasquez will be in, as he will be reunited. He was aboard for all 3 of those 2-year-old performances as he is riding this Saturday at Oaklawn.
So she's one of several who will be making her 3-year-old debut coming up. Yet another one. Filly that we saw win the Adirondack at Saratoga last summer with more than Wicked Halo. Gary Stevens, what do you have for us?
There's a lot to like about Wicked Halo. She broke her maiden first time out last year at Lone Star Park. She got her best by her speed figure that day when she won it. She was brought back in the debutante at Churchill Downs where she had some trouble at the start, stumbled at the start, finished 3rd. Comes back in the Adirondack. She was hustled hard away from the starting gate. She was at inside speed, and she was dueling all the way down the backside. They went the first quarter that day in 21-2, 44 and change for the half, and I thought it was suicide. I thought, what is going on here? She's got to stop. She didn't stop. She continued to go on and powered away to a 3.5-length lead. I love that she's coming back fresh. She's obviously doing well with the black letter gate out of gate work at Fairgrounds a couple weeks ago. When you see that move with Steve Asmussen, you know they're locked and loaded. Looking forward to seeing her run and looking forward to both of these fillies squaring off tomorrow in the Dixie Bell.
I bet he is. Giovanni Franco is going to be aboard Wicked Halo. We wish Gary and Gio all the best. Steve Asmussen has said, too, that physically she has really come into her own and matured quite a bit.
That's awesome. And, you know, she kind of did something unique in that her dam also won the Adirondack. So, and to yet another daughter of gun runner or progeny of gun runner that we've seen just do really well. And, Greg, you know, we'll also see Pretty Birdie lining up in the stalls as well, coming back for her 3-year-old debut, too. Another one that does get Lasix, although she is coming in off of a not-so-good effort.
Yeah, but I went to the bench off that, obviously,
right.
So we can potentially forgive that. She won on opening day, Saratoga, and then Schuylerville. And the Silks, Mary Lou Whitney stables. It'll be great to see those Silks win again. You look at those couple of starts, and yeah, it was a grade 3 win. She needs to take a big move forward against this group.
She doesn't like to switch leads. I do, and she's kind of reluctant to the crop there, swishing her tail quite a bit. She is one that I think may benefit from getting Lasix, as she will here since this is an ungraded stake. Every state differs in what their law rules are against that or for that. But Norm's horses that he's run at Oaklawn, and this is another one preparing though at Fairgrounds, they run very well. So, you know, I feel as though that Norm is bringing her back, probably in fine fettle. It's just, as you said, is she as good as the aforementioned duo?
And look, she can move forward too, but also she likes to do it on the front end, and there's plenty of others that want to do it that way as well.
Yeah, and we saw in the spinaway that she wasn't faster. I mean, she was facing Heko Zulu that day, and something may have gone awry at the start. But like you said, she's going to have to deal with Happy Soul, and Wicked Halo is probably just as fast as her, and she's down on the inside. You know what horse I thought was a little bit interesting as a long shot? Hypersport.
Okay.
With all the speed signed on, turning back in distance. Best race came at Oaklawn, going the 6 furlongs, and ran a figure that makes her a serious contender.
Hypersport, Come On Sweet Love, Icy Stare Down, all those three, because they can come from off the pace. It tempts you to look at them a lot more than you usually would.
And they have recency, and plus Hypersport was facing Secret Oath in her last 2.
Very good one. Dwayne Lucas?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's her. I almost called you ma'am, sorry.
It's okay. I'll forgive it once. That's it.
Okay, that's it.
Speaking of Norm Cassie and Pretty Birdie, Norm, going to have the favorite coming up in the feature today at Oaklawn. He's going to have Joel Rosario aboard AC Expressway. Going to come from well off the pace to try and get back-to-back wins coming up. That's in the 8th, still ahead. When we come back, stay with us. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2.
Anybody going 70, 50, 75, 850, 75, 175, 175, 150, 175. Route 850,000. Thank you.
Volatile in front by 2. Whitmore is down at the rail. Forense Fire and Mind Control. It's Volatile in front as they pass the 16th pole. Volatile victorious in the Vanderbilt. 1 by 2 lengths.
850,000. Thank you.
We're here at African Cemetery number 2. It's a historical landmark for the city of Lexington, really the state of Kentucky. But not only are there tremendous amounts of equestrian horsemen buried here, but you also have Buffalo Soldiers and very prominent African-American class people in terms of doctors, lawyers, attorneys, and dentists. Most importantly and most notably is Oliver Lewis, who as a 19-year-old African-American jockey will ever be remembered as the first Kentucky Derby winner in 1875. Then followed by James Soup Perkins. He won the Kentucky Derby at age 15. And then lastly, the great Isaac Murphy. Isaac was a 3-time Kentucky Derby winner, 1884, 1890, and 1891. He rode in 11 Kentucky Derbies. He was able to really bring people together. You know, white and black alike flocked to the track to see this man and all his glory. And Isaac's 44% winning percentage will probably not be eclipsed. Isaac was really able to, communicate with the horse through his hands and his warm personality. We just felt like there needed to be representation in terms of the African-American contributions to horse racing. We formed a nonprofit, the Project to Preserve African-American Turf History, with the goal of an ongoing running project that really paid homage to this forgotten past. We created the Isaac Murphy Image Awards to honor or to recognize prominent African-Americans in business, education, entertainment, and sports. And we wanted to do that by bringing them to the Kentucky Derby, learning a little bit of history, and what better way to recognize them with an esteemed Isaac Murphy Image Award. The overall mission of PATH is that we wanted to find ways that we could integrate the history into the equine industry and really have some outreach and outgrowth in terms of setting the next generation up in terms of learning about this forgotten past. I think it's, when we really get down to the nuts and bolts of it, this story gives us a lesson in terms of diversity and inclusion that I think is very relevant today. It provides us with a blueprint to really amplify that message and that story nationwide, especially in times like this. horse racing in its earliest days set the foundation for a sporting culture that far exceeded anyone's expectation. And I think, if we can get the sport back to where its days of glory and its prominence, but more importantly, its impact on diversity and inclusion, I think everyone wins in that situation.
What a resume for Isaac Murphy. Won the Travers in 1879, three-time Derby winner, and had to tackle racism back in the day head on. He went against opponents who routinely were trying to conspire against him from competing. First jockey ever inducted into the Hall of Fame.
That's amazing. In 1955, and two, at the time, he was one of the highest paid athletes overall in America. And two, I like the fact they talk about the riding style. Now, the riding style back then is completely different from what we see now, as horses were more trained for stamina rather than speed. But I like how they said he was one who rode in the English style, or he sat back a bit, and he would often use his words and the spurs that he used, which aren't allowed now, but instead of the riding crop. And then two, he was the guy who patented the grandstand finish of doling out a horse's pace and saving that last burst of energy for the stretch, and really kind of changed the way that races were run in America.
Incredible, and great that so much is being done now, especially with that exhibit at the Kentucky Derby Museum, remembering this important past of the sport. A lot more coming up here. We still have the feature ahead at Oaklawn right now, though the 7th is next. It's $50,000 maiden claiming sprint. 3/4 of a mile coming up in this race. And camaraderie, the drop alone makes this filly very interesting. Drops down into a tag for the first time for her start, number 4.
And she gets laces coming in for her 3-year-old bow here. 2 back, she faced Secret Oath. And Greg, she's one that does have at least some speed going longer. She cuts back to the 6 furlongs. It's just in all of her races, she kind of had trouble finishing up. She was never really running in the last furlong of any of those. So we'll see what she does here. But as you said, the drop in class has to be noted.
She is 7-2 on the board. The favorite towards the outside, and we're going to hear more from in a moment. Distorted Secrets for Norm Cassie. And he's going to have that favorite in the feature as well. I see Expressway. Want to remind everyone to get signed up, play along with Naira Bets. Use that promo code for new members, bonus 200 at NairaBets.com or on the Naira Bets app. Going to see a first-timer to kick off our post parade here in a moment. Daughter Liam's map, who's not taking a whole lot of support.
No, that's this one for Ernie Witt. Luis Quinones rides. Liam's map, though, as far as a debut sire, he's 14% with 3 and up. And you have to go back a generation as far as pedigree, but this one's second dam was Royal Lahaina, who was a Greatest Stakes winner, who actually won our Grade 2 Gopher Wand when she was trained by Todd Pletcher. So maybe with that pedigree, you think maybe she wants to go longer. Maybe, obviously, with the price, as you said, she'll want to need a start.
There she is. So 12-1 from the inside post, gets Lasix for the debut. Next door, another first-time starter for Phil D'Amato.
This one is taking some play, and she's by Cairo Prince, 12% with his debut runners. Unraised Dam, the half, though, broke maiden in the same spot at Oaklawn last year.
Yeah, in her second start.
Second start,
maiden
right.
50. Camaraderie, making her 3-year-old debut.
Does return wearing the front wraps as well, so we'll see what she does.
Pretty color. Texas Lexus, blinkers on and Lasix.
Oof, she is going to have to improve. She does get the makeover here, but she did absolutely no running in that debut race at Churchill.
Ricardo Santana Jr. rider change, blinkers on, the 5.
She did break a step slow in her last start. She didn't seem to want to run through the kickback, so maybe adding that shortcut blinker kind of focuses her in and breaks more alertly.
Tis Miss Betty. She wasn't against better at Lone Star first time out. It was a while ago.
And it said she was a bad actor, so we'll pay attention to how she acts at the gate.
Hot Tub Hottie, she ran and debuted at this level. She was 8-1, showed early speed.
Yeah, coming out of the same race as your favorite. She was hustled from that inside post position, so look for her to find the lead a little bit more effortlessly today.
Miss Yum Yum facing Zamuda again.
She was vying for the lead, but I thought they were fairly slow fractions.
Here is Zamuda, and she was 4 wide in that Miss Yum Yum race, pretty much all the way around.
She should have been DQ'd, though, in that Miss Yum Yum race.
Argumental, 37-1.
And he's gone.
The ultimate hunch play.
Yes. First off the claim here, and we'll see, off the Mike Maker with no running.
Favorite is the 12, start number 2 for Distorted Secrets.
She was green, but she was the only one making up significant ground first time out.
And Sure Wasn't Me also eligible that does draw. And actually, the Grand Dam was multiple stakes placed in New York.
Yeah, and the Dam fooled to Air Force, who won the Kentucky Jockey Club and the Bourbon, second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Well, Distorted Secrets, the 12, your favorite right now, who was last away in her debut. She'll break second to the outside. Let's check in with Gary now and the importance of a good start when you're drawn outside, Gary.
Well, it's not only important when you're drawn outside, it's important when you're drawn inside, too. And she was last away last time out. She gets blinkers today. And listen, I'm sure that Florent Giroux was happy that the scratch of the 11 horse permitted the 13 also eligible to scratch into the race. Now he doesn't have that empty space on the outside of him. You always hear Richard McLeori talking about horses that have empty space, young horses, and they tend to go out to that empty space. Well, there's not going to be empty space to her outside now because of that scratch in. But you wouldn't want to see Florent go crazy leaving there. She showed a lot of run, a lot of promise with her late finish last time out. So you just want her away from there smooth and clean and focused. And she was very focused as she trotted by in the post break. She seems like a happy horse. I'm going to talk a little bit about the 2 as well for Phil D'Amato. And got a little inside info on this one. One of the beauties of being an agent and having Tiago Pereira as one of the riders, you get some inside information. This filly's quick away from the gate. He's gone ahead and worked her twice. Seems like a very intelligent filly, and for a first-time starter walking over here and in this small paddock area, it was like she'd done it a million times. She was very focused on the racetrack. I know they're expecting her to run well today, and the action on the board says that somebody else likes her too, guys.
Quick question for you. Now, she comes in to this race off of a gate drill. Do you like to see that? I mean, it was a quick blowout, 37 and change.
Yeah, I mean, just one little time. It depends on the trainer, depends on the horse. This filly has been so professional in the morning that if it's a true first-time starter that is very green or on the nervous type, I didn't like doing it too much because it really sets them overboard sometimes, gets them a little bit rattled. But this filly is very behaved. She's great around the barn, very professional, and she's gone about her business. So it was an easy blowout. It was basically what it was, is just to kick away from the starting gate and go across the chute and let her do whatever she wanted. It was only 3/8 of a mile, and Tiago was just galloping her pretty much all the way around there. So, no, it doesn't bother me at all in this particular instance, Maggie.
Love it. Thank you, Gary. And, yeah, she does look quick.
She's taken a lot of support. We say it all the time, especially maiden races, first-time starters. See where that money is flowing, and she's taken a lot of it. She was 10-1 morning line. Jonathan, your thoughts here on the 7th?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 3, Camaraderie. Obviously, Norm Cassie's horse, who's already run, has got a fast enough figure that if he runs that race and these don't really show up, there's nothing really in here, he's going to win. But I do think the 3 is interesting. It's a horse that ran sneaky okay first time out at Keeneland. It was 70-1 that day, so it wasn't really expected to run much better. And then the 2 subsequent starts, the speed figures were okay as well. And the one thing you'll notice is this horse is dropping from maiden special weight into maiden claiming, while the rest of them have kind of been facing maiden claimers. So there's that opportunity. There's also that from 2 to 3 in terms of age, that maturity that comes along, and this horse also getting Lasix for the first time. So a lot of things pointing in the direction that the 3 Camaraderie might be okay. Now, like I said, if the 12, the favorite for Norm Cassie, runs that race and these other horses just aren't quite as good, that's probably your winner. But I think it's at least worth a chance to look elsewhere considering the outside draw and the fact that that was against maiden 50s last time and the horse didn't break particularly well, and sometimes that can be a habit.
Yeah, I'm 4-1 Camaraderie. Thought there was a chance this one actually might go off favorite in here, but still taking plenty of support. Second choice right now. You want the 7 for a moment. Hot Tub Hottie had to deal with the rail in the debut, showed speed, now start number 2 and gets away from that inside post.
She's interesting, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like she broke on top. She broke about mid-pack and had to be hard ridden by Luis Quinones to get to the lead. So Carl Broberg does pick her up. He is having a slow meet, to be fair, but she used up a ton of her energy getting to the lead, setting a contested pace. I think she deserves another shot. And as you said, a relief for her to be drawn off the rail this time.
And, another other big price, just sure looking at value where it lies in this race, the 9 Zamuda, 8-1.
Like I said, she did run well. She was the beaten favorite 2 back. They put her in over her head first off the claim, but fine. Now she's back where she belongs, and she's run numbers that make her a legitimate player. But also, now, not that the horse she interfered with was going to win, but she did cut off a horse who then therefore dropped the rider. And she was never taken down. They never even looked at it. I had a bit of a problem with that decision, or lack of a decision, or lack of looking at it. And so I don't know. I do agree with you, though, that you're getting some serious value on her because she has the credentials to be a major player.
Yeah, off that, I mean, new connections, put her into a much tougher spot. A straight maiden group, that was too much for her. And back to where she ran 2 starts before. And even though, look, there was that interference, but she still ran big. She was 4 wide basically the whole way around the racetrack that day.
And look, too, she might get the right kind of setup again. I think there's some horses in here that could be forward, and she could benefit from that.
There she is, up to 9-1. Just leaving your screen, the 9 here. Daughter of Violence. Luis Contreras will be aboard. 5-2, the public settling in on this 12. Distorted Secrets.
Isn't the 13 interesting, though, as we brought up with the pedigree, Greg? I mean, or he can get a first-time out winner. He's 12%, 3 and up. Ramon Vasquez chooses to ride this one instead of the one he was originally named on, which was Fighting Temptation, wasn't it? I think. Or was he on the... Yes, that is right. He was originally named on Fighting Temptation and chose to stay on this one. Sure wasn't me.
So, no, I'm with you. But, yeah, to Gary's point, and Mig says it all the time, outside posts, sometimes we'll see if she breaks okay.
Running to that open space. Same thing for the first-time starter on the rail, too.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'm with you. There's reasons to think she's intrigued. She's a big number, too. 7th from Oaklawn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
Riders off of Royal Bonus. Tis Miss Betty just went in. Last to load. Sure wasn't me. They're at the post. They're off. Tis Miss Betty breaks well, so does Fighting Temptation. Distorted Secrets in the middle. Hot Tub Hottie is in the firing line as well. Then comes Miss Yum Yum, followed by Sure Wasn't Me and Camaraderie at the rails. Zamuda is next, then Argumental, followed by Texas Lexus, and the trailer is Royal Bonus, and the leader is Hartley. Hartley into the far turn with a 1.5 length lead on Distorted Secrets in second. Fighting Temptation is third. Hot Tub Hottie is fourth and about 4 from the front. Outside of her, it's Argumental. 2 lengths to Camaraderie. Midfield now, but moving up just a bit at the rail. Texas Lexus goes by Tis Miss Betty. Then comes Zamuda in the center, and it's 4 back to Royal Bonus. Hartley the leader with Distorted Secrets in second. Hartley at the top of the stretch, traveling nicely. A 2-length lead on Distorted Secrets in second. Argumental and Camaraderie are third and fourth. Final furlong, and Hartley is opening up. Hartley past mid-stretch with a 5-length lead on Distorted Secrets, then Argumental and Camaraderie, but Hartley is putting on a show, and she's far in front. Argumental trying to get into second. Hartley clear to the wire to win. And a big win it was. Hartley won by 8 lengths. Distorted Secrets was second, Argumental third, Camaraderie finished fourth.
We heard from Gary about her ability. She was being bet like she had talent, too. She goes off at 5-1 in the end in her debut.
She didn't break that sharply, but she quickly found her stride beneath Tiago Pereira, and she led these on a merry chase. I mean, 8 or 10 in the end, Greg. She won drawing off, and you got to wonder, this is a maiden claimer. Does somebody dip in considering she was taking some money? Did she get claimed? I know it's a tough sell, but...
Yeah, you never know. I mean, with the way she was, word was probably out about her, so maybe it did happen. We'll try and find out for you when we come back. Hartley, impressive. First time out winner, 110-4 final time for the 6 furlongs. Coming up this weekend, Back on the Triple Crown Trail, the Risen Star. Smile Happy, winner of that Kentucky Jockey Club, is a 2-year-old making his 3-year-old debut, and he's going to tackle Zandon, among others, in that tight finish in the Remsen with Mo Donegal.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 7 millionaires. With over 10% stakes performers, his recent top runners include Tarabi, placed in the Grade 1 Spinaway and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, Grade 2 winner Plum Ali, multi-millionaire Shivaji, plus these standout performers. Now his biggest book in the past decade will be 3-year-olds in 2022. A proven value sire, First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
And on the morning of the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need to create the noblest of all creatures. So God made a racehorse. He needed a horse that is faster, smarter, sleeker, and sounder, so God made a racehorse. He created an animal sound of wind with oversized nostrils to breathe fire like a dragon and turn oxygen into rocket fuel. He gave it a kind eye so his caretaker could look into his soul. And then on the afternoon of the 8th day, God realized that he needed an animal that was even swifter, smarter, and sounder.
An animal that can compete on the world stage and win iconic races like at Royal Ascot.
So God created a legend. The legend lives on at Alapa.
For a time, as many as 350 major league players converged in Hot Springs, Arkansas each spring to prepare for the upcoming season.
Ownership felt they needed to boil out the alcoholic microbes. Hot Springs was known as a place that had therapeutic waters, and they came for that reason. And then the ball players turned out to love it because they really not only did get in shape, but they had a great time.
By the 1930s, nearly half of all major league teams had, at some point, used Hot Springs as their spring training base. Plus, about half of all prominent ball players visited Hot Springs individually. Babe Ruth used to visit Hot Springs to work his way into shape, a place to prepare for spring training. In fact, the Babe even used the hot healing waters to recover from influenza. This wall at the Gangsters Museum of America in Hot Springs represents the long list of Hall of Fame baseball greats who trained here.
The winter storm of 2021 is a reminder of why baseball eventually migrated away from Hot Springs. The rain proved to be a disruption, and sometimes even the cold and snow wiped out valuable practice time. Although by the 1930s most teams moved to Florida and Arizona, Hot Springs would continue to be a destination for players to work out before joining their major league squads for decades to come. Quite a history in Hot Springs. Got the features still coming up on this Friday card. We just saw an impressive performance with Hartley, and those prices ahead here in a second. Our program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Here's Hartley at this point completely in command.
Look how professional she was too, Greg. I mean, switched her lead right on cue, ears back, ran straight. She was actually pretty darn impressive. And albeit a maiden 50, she won like she could have possibly handled maiden special weight company.
She's going to a new barn. We don't know who, but she was taken for $50,000.
Clever, clever. Whoever did it. Because now, I mean, yes, you lose the condition, but now she's starter eligible, and that's huge. To rattle off that condition, huge.
$13.40 for the Win Distorted Secrets Argumental. 34-1 helps that trifecta. Let's move on to the feature. 6 furlong sprint. $100,000 allowance race, 4-year-olds and up. We've been talking a lot of this show about AC Expressway. We know Joel Rosario, no matter where he is, he gets over bet, and that's the case here. Definitely can win this race, but 9-5 right now.
I was kind of on the fence with this horse because he absolutely got the right kind of setup. It was a fast pace, but on the flip side, it actually held together, but he saved all the ground. I mean, classic Joel, you know, ice water in the veins, just slipping through the narrowest of gaps on the rail. But on the flip side, too, Greg, he really powered through the line.
Yeah.
He really ran on, so that was a positive in his direction. But as you said, I think the worst of it is the price.
Usually the case when you're betting on the man who's coming off first ever Eclipse Award win as outstanding jockey. Big weekend on the Triple Crown Trail. Grade 2 Risen Star from the fairgrounds, 1 1/8 miles. And look who's back. Son of Run Happy, Smile Happy, perfect 2 for 2 in his career, including that Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club win at Churchill Downs for the Kenny McPeak barn.
And I mean, check out key race of key races here with Classic Causeway winning the Sam F. Davis and White Abario coming back and winning the Holy Bull, finishing 2nd and 3rd behind him. And I like this horse. I like the way he finishes his races, and I like his style because it looks as though there's plenty of speed signed on for this Risen Star, and he projects us at the right kind of trip. The problem, the layoff, a bit, yes. Zandon's going to have a similar layoff to overcome. And 2, Kenny McPeak does not have particularly good numbers coming in to fairgrounds.
But he seems like he's got a pretty good one here in Smile Happy, who was able to win first time out, going long, back that up with another big win, light on experience in a Grade 2. Gary, your thoughts on Smile Happy?
Well, what I loved about his jockey club is he was tactical, very tactical. He was very professional for only his 2nd race of his life. He could have actually made the lead a lot earlier than he did. Corey Lannery, he chose to sit and wait and wait and wait, and the acceleration was there when he needed it. It looked like he hung a little bit maybe when he first made the lead, but he got it figured out in the last 16th of a mile. I think distance is no problem for him. I think he's going to really enjoy the long stretch there at Fairgrounds. But Kenny can get one fit off the layoff. He's got plenty of horses to work him with. This horse has been training down in South Florida. He did van to Fairgrounds, but he got a stopover in Ocala prior to making the rest of the trip to Fairgrounds. It's not a huge long trip, but it is a long trip. They said that he shipped in great, doing well. I talked to his assistant here at Oaklawn Park this morning. He said he did ship good. I don't feel like he's a deep closer. I think that with the speed that's signed on, I'm like Maggie, I think he can set a great trip. The question is going to be, how much is he going to advance? Is he going to need a race to take that step forward? I don't know. We'll see tomorrow, guys.
And we got a few making their 3-year-old debuts in this race. Zandon's another one of them. Winners coming out of that race. It was a key race. Smile Happy won in that Kentucky Jockey Club, Classic Causeway, White Abario, Call Me Midnight, all have come back to run very big and win.
Yeah, they have. And I mean, talk about key races too. How about and talk about horses making their 3-year-old debut. The horse on the outside, Slow Down Andy. He beat Messier in his last start.
Who was just dominated the competition. Yeah, in his return race out of that. He comes off the bench. Zandon comes off the bench. Now you look at Zandon, he debuted winning at 6 furlongs, and then he was in that battle in the Remsen going from 6 furlongs to 1 1/8 miles with Mo Donegal in this race where there was some interference. Mo Donegal didn't impress out of this in his 3-year-old debut. What do you think of Zandon?
I like Zandon. To do this in only a 2nd start, going from the 6 to 9 furlongs, was huge. And he was the one taking all the punches, literally and figuratively, in this race. I didn't necessarily agree with leaving Mo Donegal up. I thought he was interfered with enough and the margin to defeat was so narrow. But it is what it is. And I like him as a horse. And Chad Brown has great numbers. 3rd start of a career, 2nd route. He's hitting at 35%.
It's going to be fun to see all these. We want to see all of them continue on this path,
yes.
the big names, because they've both been very exciting, even from limited starts here in their career. Papa Cap ran very big, Breeders' Cup Juvenile, 2nd behind Corniche, came back and was 3rd in that LeCompte behind Epicenter, who was trying to do a gate to wire for Steve Asmussen. Both these two will line up again.
You know, you wonder, it looked like the right move to stay on the rail and come up there like Joe Bravo did, but you also wonder too, did he just not really accelerate like he should have? Now, There's plenty of pedigree to say the longer the better. He does appear to be a somewhat smaller individual. I've never seen him up close and personal. So I wonder ultimately how far does he really want to go? But two, he's going to have to work out a trip again from the inside. Does pick up a new rider though in Tyler Gaffney.
Two more to consider in the Grade 2 Risen Star. Trying to get that points collected to get in that starting gate that first Saturday in May. It'll be a fun one. And we got a big one coming up here in New York, not that far off, in the Gotham, right around the corner as well. Basically, win that race, you're into the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, we kick off the 50-point races with the Risen Star. So it's big time now, and whatever horses start to win these races are going to likely line up in your Kentucky Derby, as don't forget the Bob Baffert horses are unable to compete this year and the next.
But Baffert saying he's going to show up with someone in that Rebel. So expect to see him there despite that. Gotham, as we talked about here in New York, Fountain of Youth, March 5th. March 5th, a big, big afternoon. Winners of all those races going to basically punch their ticket to the Derby. And that Rebel coming up on February the 26th. Got some Rebel news. Gary, what's the latest?
Latest news on Barber Road for Johnny Ortiz. He'll have his regular rider back aboard in Raylu Gutierrez, who missed the mount in the Southwest last time because he was in Florida riding the Pegasus Cup. He's the regular rider of this horse. He's won on him 2 times. He ran a very good race in the Southwest, coming from next to last to finish second that day, beating three lengths probably for everything, 2 lengths, something like that. But listen, Raylu Gutierrez is Johnny Ortiz's go-to rider. He's his #1 rider in the barn. Having an extremely good meet in New Orleans. He's come here. He's already won 6 races, and he's only ridden here for a few days on and off on special days. And then we're going to talk about the other road, the coach's horse, Ethereal Road, who broke his maiden the same day as the Southwest and only ran a couple ticks slower than what they ran the Southwest. He had an unbelievably bad break. He stumbled, he broke slow, and then his left leg kind of buckled. He was so far out of it. Wayne Lucas said he was in another area code, and he was. He was clear out of the picture the entire race until about the midway around the turn, and he started passing horses with every stride, every single stride. Since then, I happened to be in Wayne's barn the other morning. They worked him out of the starting gate a few days back, and he had his regular rider, Luis Contreras, on. I was in the office because Giovanni Franco was on the workmate. He was on a filly in there. He just wanted some company. And I'll tell you what, for a horse that's 16-3, he left there like a cat the other morning. He left there a lot better than what he did in the Southwest. And he made an explosive move from midway around the turn and galloped out probably about 10 seconds in front of his company. But it was a very strong move. It looked great. He was pulling all the way into the backstretch after breaking from the starting gate. A horse that's going to enjoy all the extra distance moving forward. I know he just broke his maiden, but when horses make this big move like he did when he broke his maiden, he's not in without a chance for the coach, Wayne Lucas. Guys?
Gary, thanks. And look, it's always more fun to have D. Wayne Lucas with a horse in the Triple Crown Trail.
It always has been, that's for sure. And I was actually on set with Lafitte the day that he broke his maiden, and you could see, as Gary pointed out, he's huge, and he just kind of fell out of the gate. And I remember Vic Stauffer with a slightly dramatic call saying, well, pay attention to Ethereal Road. He's going to get a piece of this. And then midway down the stretch, he said, he's not just going to get a piece of it. So he was very, very impressive. And I like what I saw from that horse, so it's good to hear Gary's update as well of him working very nicely.
All right, we'll see if he can make that big jump forward. Barber Road, by the way, that's a horse who's didn't debut, but he won 30 maiden claiming, but he's really started to make some big moves forward. Third and final leg of that Triple Crown, of course, the Belmont Stakes. Tickets on sale now. That Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, June 9th through the 11th. You don't want to miss it. Get your tickets today at belmontstakes.com.
Yeah, don't get shut out. We are capping attendance at 50,000, so make sure you get your tickets. Some really kind of new and exciting and neat experiences that we're selling as far as tickets and vendors and concessions as well.
All right, again, belmontstakes.com, where to go to get your tickets. Be part of the action. Last year's Belmont was, I thought, one of the most exciting Triple Crown races we've had in a long time.
Essential Quality and Hot Rod Charlie just throwing it down. You are absolutely right, Greg. That was one of the best Belmonts I've ever seen.
I might go home and watch it again tonight.
Okay, let's do it.
Feature coming up next in Oaklawn, 6 furlong sprint. AC Expressway, Joel Rosario, Norm Cassie with the favorite when we return.
Spun to Run. In the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, he defeated a loaded field that included multiple Grade 1 winners Omaha Beach and Improbable. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more. And he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, Breeders' Cup champion, Spun to Run, standing at Gainesway.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2, program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. The main events in Hot Springs up next, this 8th at Oaklawn, their Friday feature. 6 furlong sprint. And field making their way out to the track. Post parade coming up at 7, just walking through your screen right now. That is Joel Rosario for Norm Cassie on AC Expressway. Likely again going to be coming from fairly far out of it, although maybe not quite as far as last time. They went very fast in that race early.
Yeah, they did. But like I said, it wasn't like it was completely collapsing. He was really the only horse kind of running on late, but he was really running on. We'll see, though. Maybe it's a race that, is too good to be true.
Meanwhile, it's Wayakin, the 5. He's been off since May of last year for Mike Makers, favored right now 2-1.
Now, maybe the money he's taking is very meaningful, but I thought there were reasons to be a little dubious about his form. For instance, Mike Maker off of a 180-day or 6-month-plus layoff, route to sprint on the dirt. He's 0 for 15, and didn't it seem as though this horse's best races came at a 1-turn mile at Churchill? Now he's cutting back?
Yeah, we'll see. He did break his maiden sprinting on this racetrack. It was for a softer group, obviously. And he seemed to kind of come into his own going a little longer. Snowhouse, who beat him last time out, was actually third in, even though it was a 5-horse field in the Dwyer. But gone to the bench for a while. He's got that quick work coming back, a few bullets he's been firing in the morning.
Yeah, and I think that speaks of the money he's taking. So, and 2, he's a newly turned 4-year-old. And there, once again, there's always that room for improvement. And he was running, that 83-85 as a fairly early 3-year-old.
Here's our post-parade. We start with Incorruptible, 26-month layoff when he returned January 28th.
And he was entered last Saturday in a non-2 life for 20, and they opt for this allowance race.
Tough spot. Lock up 23-1.
On his toes, typical of Dwayne Lucas's horses, switches back to the dirt. Probably the right move, but I don't even think his dirt races are fast enough here off the layoff.
Should be in front early, though. I don't know about late.
Yeah.
Majestic West cutting back in distance.
This horse is a little bit interesting. I like his company lines. Maybe this is just a starting point as he is coming off a near-year layoff.
Safa's Day's got some good running lines. He was second to Bob's Edge, who was a King Cotton winner this year.
I think this is an interesting horse, and he has, speed to keep him close, but he's going to let them do the dirty work.
Leading rider at the meet on Wayakin.
Yeah, I guess the money's meaningful. I thought there were reasons to look elsewhere.
Maiden win, tough spot here for Legal Legends.
Though the horse that did come back, that ran second, came back and ran an 81 in his next start.
And here's AC Expressway, Joel Rosario.
Looks good on the racetrack, Greg. Moving very nicely there for Norm Cassie. We'll see if he can recreate that 87 speed figure, though.
Deflator, huge price, Kelsey Haar.
Going to be a huge price. Once again, 54-1. I can't make this horse.
And another one you can make a case for. He's a player outside here, son of Sky Mesa, Mesa Moon for Scott Young.
Had a little bit of trouble in that last start facing Macron, who was an easy winner, ran a fast race that day, kind of in tight a little bit around the turn, had to be ridden to get there. Now he's on the outside. I think that bodes well for him.
5-7, both at 2-1 on the board. Gary, can Joel do it again on AC Expressway?
Yeah, I believe he can, and I used to love riding horses like this. No real particular style. He just clicks off those 22 and 3s for the first quarter. If they're rolling up front, he's going to be further back. If they're not going that fast early on, then he's going to be more forwardly placed. And Joel's the type of rider that he's going to let this horse kick away from there and do what he wants to do, make him happy. And I think his last race was a confidence builder for him. He drew the inside that day, hugged the rail, got through on the fence, and it wasn't a tight. It was a tight hole that he came through, and he showed a lot of guts. And sometimes you see these horses, a light click on, and all of a sudden they get really good. And this might be an instance where that's going to happen with AC Expressway, where a confidence builder. He looked really happy after you guys left the camera. Joel went away from the pony. He lunged forward. Joel let him rip for about 50 yards. He came back to him with a long cross way down on his withers, warming up very, very happy right now. He's standing on the backside right now at about the 4.5 pole. He's just taking everything in. He's turning around, walking back right now. All the signs are that this is a very, very happy horse. And like I said, no particular style. He's going to place himself where he's most comfortable, and Joel's going to do the rest and steer him where he needs to go. I love him right now at 2-1, guys.
Gary, thanks. I mean, and you see what you were talking about. He really started to accelerate late in the stretch, and maybe, look, that number he earned, bigger than anything he's ever earned in his career, but maybe he's just kind of turned the page and getting better now as a 4-year-old.
I like this horse as an individual. Just watching him out there, he looks like he's having fun. And that last replay, too, yes, Joel did the right thing, but you could also tell that the horse was taking him there. Joel went to get outside of what looked to be the two inside runners. Then they kind of parted ways, and this horse said, no, we're going to go through there. And they both were like, okay. And I like this horse as an individual, like I said.
It's like he's in a dressage competition.
I know, doesn't he? Just looks so he's doing well. Now, looking at his chief competition as far as the board is concerned, that's Wayakin there. He got a solo warm-up with Ricardo Santana aboard. Look, I often think Mike Maker's horses look as though they need a start. Doesn't usually work out as the case. They will win despite looking a little soft around the edges.
2-1 here. We haven't seen him on the racetrack since May of last year in this race, and he gave Snowhouse a battle here.
This was a great effort coming off the back of that blowout win in the starter allowance. Now, he does face older horses for the first time, in which Mike Maker was very crafty with entering him throughout that early campaign of his 3-year-old Bow. Like I said, the numbers just aren't there for the Maker barn in this spot.
He's a 2-1 as well, along with AC Expressway, and then you have Mesa Moon to the outside. What do you do with the outside runner here, Jonathan?
Oh, Wolf, you know what I do with the outside runner. I've got a crush on outside runners at Oaklawn, especially on the dirt. It just seems that trip seems to do well. They don't get stopped. you're usually going to get pace at Oaklawn. You don't see it everywhere in the country where these paces materialize, but at Oaklawn you do. There's big money on the line. There's a lot of riders that are very, extremely talented riders, but there's also some riders that are still trying to establish themselves, and I think those riders can tend to be a little bit more aggressive. I just feel like Oaklawn actually plays pretty true when you're looking at it from a pace standpoint. I think the 10 Mesa Moon's going to end up setting a nice trip, sitting to the outside. It's consistent with his speed figures. While some of these other horses have some kind of nice outlier numbers, some of them are like, yeah, you ran that last time, but you also have run 10 points slower than that in every other race in your career, so which one am I supposed to believe? I'm going to go with the 10, drawn outside, who comes in off of a short break, runs well last time, and should run even better second off of a break. And like I said, whenever it's close, I'm always going to side with the horses that are drawn outside on the dirt. That's the 10 Mesa Moon.
4-1. Major player in this race coming up.
Absolutely. I love the way he looks on the racetrack as well. And Jonathan's right. I thought last time being drawn down the inside, he had some traffic trouble, and now he gets to sit that clear trip. So, yes, the criticism of AC Expressway is that last race was an outlier. Did it look very good? Yes. Is it an optical illusion, though? How about Majestic West in here? He's a huge price of 17-1. Yeah, better races arguably have come going longer, but he's faced some decent horses throughout his career.
Yeah, it's too big a price.
Way too
big. For sure, and he hasn't run terrible. Certainly going
Sprinting.
7 furlongs.
Yeah.
It's what we're at basically a year time off now.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna have to run hard here in this spot. I look at Safa's Day. I thought he has ability. He's 9 to just in terms of a price, because you're never going to get a good price. Obviously, we know that with Joel and AC Expressway, and he does got to prove it. Safa's Day, he's shown good ability against some really good sprinters.
And too, what I thought with Safa's Day is that was his first start back in 9 months, back in January, and he ran fine. He did what he had to do to win the 50 non-2 light, but it also felt like a performance where he could build upon that. He could run faster now, second start as a 4-year-old. So I totally understand him, and he's a square price of 9-2.
And look, one of the best trainers on the planet put him in for a claiming tag, gambled, lost him. That's Steve Asmussen, and we can see, a lot of handicappers say, I don't want to take him coming from that barn and going somewhere else. But a lot of times, if they have the talent, they can keep on rolling. We'll see if Safa's Day can do that. And he's going to be forward in this race, too. He's not going to be in a lead probably, but he's going to be in the mix early.
Absolutely. And Renee Amescua has done well at the meet. So it's not like you're like, oh, he's going from Steve Asmussen to a really low percentage trainer. He's not at the end of the day.
Any look at all to the speedster, the 2 lock up?
No. I mean, I think there's other pace to at least keep him honest in here. And yes, he does seem to be clear at the first call, but I don't know, Greg. He has one race that makes him competitive, and that was going 5.5 at Churchill back in November of his 2-year-old year. So
yeah, he's never reproduced that number.
I mean, maybe he was in just tough spots, which he was, but you're going to take him off of a long layup. Look, he's 23-1. I'm, not trying to slam a 23-1 shot.
Tough to see him hanging on.
It is.
Faced Whiskey double on this race. Granted, it was in the slot, but he had the lead in that race, too. He was beat less than 10 lengths.
Oh, he's quick. He is quick. He will be the one in front at the first call.
Well, can AC Expressway back up that performance last time out? There he is stepping in under Joel Rosario. It's the feature here on this Friday card in Hot Springs. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
Last horse to load, Mesa Moon. They're at the post. They're off. Lockup stumbled badly soon after the start. League of Legends and Majestic West show speed. Safa's Day is between horses. Deflator and Mesa Moon are next. Then comes Incorruptible, followed by Wayakin. At the back of the pack are AC Expressway and an absolutely cantankerous Lockup. Into the far turn with Majestic West and Safa's Way. 3 wide is League of Legends. 4 wide is Deflator, and 5 wide, leaving the backstretch, Mesa Moon. They're 2 from the front. Incorruptible is 6 at the rail and 2.5 off the lead. Then comes Wayakin, followed by Lockup. AC Expressway is still the trailer, but he's only about 6 from the lead, which is held by Safa's Day. Safa's Day, a half length in front. Mesa Moon all in outside of him. Majestic West is next. Then comes Wayakin. AC Expressway is within 5 of the lead. Safa's Day, top of the stretch. He leads it by a full length from Majestic West. Mesa Moon to the outside. Wayakin and AC Expressway. Safa's Day still in front. Safa's Day to the wire, drifting out just a bit in front of to the outside, and Mesa Moon. Safa's Day, Mesa Moon, AC Expressway late, Safa's Day in front. Safa's Day won by a length and a half. It is very close for second between AC Expressway and Mesa Moon.
Well, things changed in this race early. Lockup, the speed went to his nose out of the gate. Safa's Day comes with the goods here. Moving to the Rene Amescuo barn. Florent Giroux aboard for the win.
Leave it to horses to always make you humble and eat your words. Lockup to his nose. And we saw the horse turning back on the lead, Majestic West. So it's not as if we saw these blistering fractions that AC Expressway was able to capitalize on last time.
Keep your eyes on the 7 here. Here's Joel making a bid to try and get second late.
I
May have just come up short.
Tell.
Yeah, I don't know. Very
Never
tight for
tell.
second with AC Expressway, his mount, Mesa Moon, the 10.
Yeah, we'll see. I kind of felt bad for the 2, though. I know he was a big price because then he just ran off with Luis Contreras the whole way.
And look, one of the absolute best trainers. He's a Hall of Famer. He's won more races than anyone in this country. But you probably look back on this and still stings a little that Steve Asmussen lost this horse for 50.
Yeah, like you said, you gamble and you don't know why he was away. But sometimes there's an issue, but when horses get older, they will often get sounder because that bone builds up and they just become stronger individuals. And like you said, like we both said, there was room for improvement coming back off the layoff with that win last time out. And we saw it.
Son of Carpe Diem, 3rd win in his career. They've all come here at Oaklawn as he keeps rolling now, 2 for 2. Off the long layoff, undefeated in his 4-year-old campaign. Beats a good field here. We'll be back. Prices from this feature on the Friday card right after this here on America's Day at the Races on FS2.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Smile Happy was a TDN rising star following his maiden win at Keeneland. From there, he captured the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes to remain undefeated and earning points toward the Kentucky Derby. In Future Pool 1, Smile Happy was individual leader by lowest odds. Among the top of his crop by stakes winners and earnings, Run Happy continues his rise and is priced for success. Call today and book your mare to Red Hot Sire Run Happy, standing in legendary Style 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
We're back on America's Day at the Races program, brought to you in part by NyraBets. Go to nyrabets.com, download the app to get signed up and started. Feature in the books at Oaklawn. And Safa's Day with the victory. We had a dead heat for second. We saw Joel coming wide on AC Expressway and just able to draw even with Mesa Moon at the wire.
Yeah, Mesa Moon just had dead aim on Safa's day here, Greg, but just could never get by, whereas we saw AC Expressway had to rally from way back and just came up a bit short. And Wayakin looked as though he was going to rally. He got a little leg weary, switching back to his inside lead. It's funny, the second, third, and fourth finishers all finished on their inside lead.
Yeah. Safa's Day, it's his day again. He's come back pretty good. Here's a 4-year-old, back-to-back wins now. Moving to the new barn, returns $10.60 for the victory. It's on a Carpe Diem, 3 for 6 at Oaklawn. We're going to show you the odds for the finale on this Friday card at Oaklawn. We're not going to be on air for it, but you can head to NyraBets and see how this one plays out. $10,000 starter allowance, mile and a 16th in this final race on the card.
Yeah, Bryce looks to be a very logical short price favorite in here. Drops back down to this level in which two back he won off of the long layoff. I know his last race was not very good, but he was on that wide hunting chase throughout. So probably a lot of people willing to forgive him for that.
He had been in incredible form coming in, and he just did not show up in that race.
He didn't. He does throw stinkers every now and again. I mean, it's well within him, but he can come back and win, as we saw going back to last year at Tampa.
All right, again, you can watch that on NyraBets. We're going to look ahead to tomorrow real quick before we sign off. That Holly Hughes, our feature on Saturday here in New York, and it's a matchup with What Do You Think Now? And, of course, my boy Tate, who's looking for his third. Holly Hughes DQ'd in that Safe Florida Sandy last time out, but hard to argue that he wasn't best in here.
Yeah, I don't agree with the DQ. Maybe just a little bit of silliness with the riding out there. But then again, what did you want Eric Cancel to do? I mean, he was in that spot and he went for it. And as much as I would love to see Michelle Nevin, the horse himself, and Little Red Feather, Billy Koch, and Dave Line get the win here, I think What Do You Think Now is a better horse. Now, at the moment. And he has speed.
The more consistent and reliable that you can't argue, it's been my boy Tate. But yeah, What Do You Think Now? I mean, he stepped up, and there's that trouble caused with that gray on the rail.
Chestertown, who did come back and win quite nicely in an open allowance race.
Yeah. Taken down for that performance right there. But still, look, 8 years old, he's still running his races. But you think, What Do You Think Now is the horse to beat?
Yeah, I mean, he has the speed. He comes in off of a 1-0 Beyer speed figure. Yes, two back, he was beaten by Happy Medium, who didn't show up going back to 2 weekends ago in the stake, but I think the track was against him that day. Look, I love this horse. He's just everything I want in a physical of a horse, and he just destroyed this field.
But you believe this performance that was potentially aided a bit?
But even if he doesn't, he's still definitely fast enough to.
Yeah.
And I just think he's coming into his own now.
It'll be fun to watch. It's basically those two. You never know. It's horse racing.
Yeah.
But these appear to be the ones going at it in here. What do you think now? Just not even close. Career best effort for him. Can he back it up?
He may have been enhanced by the track, to be fair. He was, down on the rail. He had the speed. But again, even going 3 back to his performance off the bench, that makes him a serious player in here. And, his one outlier was that sloppy track race when he came back off of a short rest. And Rudy said we were just kind of, tapping the well dry there that day.
It's part of a cross-country Pick 5. It's Leg 2. It starts 3:48 Eastern Time. Tampa Bay with that Lightning City Stakes. And ends with that Dixie Bell 3-year-old filly sprinting at Oaklawn. Look forward tomorrow's card. Both these tracks it's going to be a lot of fun. I know we previewed that Dixie Bell a little bit. Going to see Pretty Birdie, Schuylerville winner coming back.
Yeah.
Happy Saver coming back. Sorry, Happy Soul coming back.
And there's a lot of happies, but we like that because we're run happies. But just a really fast fillies making their 3-year-old debuts.
Smile Happy too, back on that Triple Crown trail for Kenny McPeak. Next show, we'll see you tomorrow, 1 Eastern start time on FS2. Be sure and join us. It was Frost Me, a bit of a surprise in the feature at Aqueduct this afternoon. John Kimmel, Eric Cancel with a 2-win afternoon. And Safa's Day coming up with the goods in the feature at Oaklawn. Happy Soul makes a long-awaited return. Back-to-back wins by more than 22 lengths combined. We'll see her tomorrow in the ABR Race of the Week.